What's going on, everybody? I'm with my man Frank. We about to talk New York sports. We about to talk LeBron James. We about to talk the NBA playoffs, Shador Sanders, the draft. We about to talk. We be back in a couple of ticks.
Practice. I can show you practice. I can show you how to put $1 million in a mattress. I can show the difference between an icon and a classic. Baby in the major should be rolling in a basket. I'm advanced, and it's a lot of dance. From anywhere, my jewelry jump like John Moran. And Kif Tower Shorts got me tanning with the babes. You would be a surfer if you ever had this wave. I just switch up my cabana, they throw shade. Matter top 5, the top wives know I'm the fade. And throw them out the loop, I'll be mute, playing cute, nothing to say to you. Cause when I'm back home, I'm like Kyrie, I won't play with you. This is magic with the fur. Tim Duncan on the spur. Tanya Harton on the skate. This that Kobe number 8. This the kick over the head in the hand of Sue Bird. This boy's superb. All I got is 2 words.
Tony, Jackie. What's going on, y'all? I gotta switch hats here because I forgot. It's an episode of Tony's. So, color coordination don't really matter. And Giants wear red and blue anyway. What's going on? I'm with my boy, Frank, man. We here. We got some interesting things to talk about. But congratulations to your Knicks, man. I want to knock basketball out the way real quick. Congratulations to your Knicks, bro.
Yo. It's yo. It feels like the 90s again. We even got Charles Smith 2.0 with Towns in the middle over there. But I will say this. I think if Detroit gets a legitimate 15, 18 point a game starter, not bench player, the NBA got a problem.
Yeah, because Detroit is young and they hungry.
And they got a bunch of long, lanky dudes, all who can play defense. And they get their points off those rebounds, off those misses, just on the hustle. If they can get somebody who can legitimately get 15 to 18, they're going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem.
What's crazy is they would probably need, not Greg Monroe. The other chap, he's been going around. Damn, I hate when I can't remember their names. Andre Drummond. Now, if they would have had an Andre Drummond type of player now, it's like you know what they look like? They look like the Houston Rockets of the East. Like they're young guys and they trying to run people off the court. Yeah. Whether it works or not, when you got youth, but the Knicks, man, it's like 2 players that like according to my page and the things I see with Knicks stuff, they didn't like at first Towns. I love Towns. Minnesota, I love Towns. I don't despite the voice and everything, I love Towns. And I love Mikal Bridges when I saw him for that 1 year and change with the Nets. He plays so smooth. It seems effortless when he plays. But a lot of fans didn't like that pick. They didn't want that trade.
I think the problem with Bridges is all the draft picks we gave up. Like we gave up elite player type draft picks, and he's not an elite player. Let's be real. He's a very good player, but not 5 draft picks worth. We're about to restock all of Brooklyn at a time when Giannis is looking out. Tell me some of those picks don't look wonderful to have had right now.
And that is beautiful. You mentioned Giannis. We're gonna get back to him, but we're gonna stay where we are. No, you are right. They did give up the mother load for Bridges. Salute. What's good, Yellow Tape? Y'all did give up the mother load for Bridges, but I'm just going to speak on how his game just looks to me. I concede that. I'm gonna say this now. I concede. Y'all gave up a lot, maybe even too much, but his game is just so damn smooth, man. Then he plays every day. He doesn't miss games.
But as a fan, I'm gonna tell you what irritates me about him. He's not consistent. He's averaging 15, 16 a year. That's 20 this game, 8 the next. I'd rather you just get 15 every game. And
I can see where
we
you're
brought
going
him
with
in to
that.
be an outside shooter. He's been wild from the 3-point line this whole year. So it's like if he was a regular free agent signing, it wouldn't be so bad. But considering everything that got given up to get him, the inconsistency drives me up the wall.
I do. I understand that. I understand that. But I like him, so I'm gonna sing some praises. I'm gonna sing his praises. Defensively, he's
Oh,
good, defensively
yeah.
sound.
Yes.
Um,
He makes up for Brunson's lack of defense. I'll say that.
yes. We got a question up here. Well, not a question, a opinion or a comment. If you agree with that, Tibbs was using them wrong.
I think Tibbs, I'm going to be honest with you. It's time to say thank you for helping to change the culture, but we got a different direction we got to go in. Back to this
Think it's
series,
time to get rid of Tibbs?
time to get rid of Tibbs, man. This
Oh,
series, Detroit got a bunch of young, lanky gazelles running up and down the court. How does Precious get no minutes?
I've was that you who said that originally? Yeah, it probably
I've been saying
was.
that from game one. Like, how does
Yeah.
Precious get no minutes?
I did see that. Yeah, I did see you say that. I do remember you mentioning that how he gets no minutes. I know it was under somebody's
I
whatever
posted it
post or
myself, and
whatever.
I posted it myself, and I put that under like 5, 6
Okay,
different comments.
okay, yeah, because I know I seen that you did post that. I seen that. Well, commented, posted, either one. I'm a pothead, so sometimes I forget. But I know I do remember that you said that. And and it's like we go back to Tibbs. You got to remember Tibbs is like a 8-man rotational guy, and that's going back to his days with the Bulls. So I mean, I didn't like that because I still think that was the demise of Derrick Rose. But I still think Tibbs is a good coach. He just has to expand,
No, but
go
that's what
from
I'm
8 to 10.
But that's what I'm saying. It's time to maybe just say thank you for helping to change the culture here, but it's time to go in a different direction.
How many years he's been with y'all? 4 or 5?
5.
I
And
guess.
nothing personal. Brunson's a bottom heavy player. You can't have a bottom heavy player spraining his ankle twice a game.
Yeah,
He,
yeah, he does. He does do too much with the minutes with his
he,
starters.
he's got everybody running themselves into the ground, and it's like at some point it's gonna catch up. And the other thing I will say, back to the Bridges was used wrong. I believe so. He's a good slasher. He's a good cutter, and sometimes you get your points off of that. Why not take advantage, warm him up, and then throw him out to that 3-point line?
Yeah,
But
yeah. I always think you should warm up by going to the rack, shooting free throws and in before you start entertaining shooting from. And I was taught by shout out to John Jocks, Georgetown guard. That's what I was taught by him. I used to go out trying to shoot threes, but this ain't about me. But I'm just saying.
yeah,
And he's like, yo, start from inside, pause. Work your way, get you a layup, get you a little mid range, a midi before
get
you
your
start
rhythm going.
running.
Get your rhythm going.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And to answer you, Yellow Tape, and also you have to remember he was the number 1 with the Nets, but he's 3 or 4th option with the Knicks. And that's true too. That's true. And he's like, see, for me, I like Mikal Bridges. So, it's difficult for me to sit there and speak bad on him because I think that, as the 3rd and 4th option, when you get the ball, sometimes, you try to maybe do too much because, you're used to being with Phoenix. What was he like, a burgeoning number 1 or number 2, rather, behind Booker? Then he gets to the Nets. He's number 1, number 2. And then now he gets traded to the Knicks where, he finally finds some success. And it's like he wants to contribute like he was contributing before. That's just what I'm thinking. That's just me. But, as a fan, I understand,
And I'm not saying him, but I also remember a comment Charles Barkley made way back in the 90s. I forget who the player was. And he said, there's players on certain teams that score 20 points because we let them. We know nobody else in that team can beat us, so we just let them.
Got you. Yeah,
Bridges
I know
was
what you're talking about. I remember that interview. Go ahead.
Bridges has been a number 2 or 3 pretty much all the time until Brooklyn got rid of everybody and made him the one. You know, so I don't know. Again, I'm not complaining about the man's ability to play. Part of it might be he was used wrong. I'm gonna hang my anger on everything that we gave up for him for the inconsistency we getting out of him.
Yeah, I that's why I said I can't knock that. It's just I'm a fan of Bridges and
Yeah,
I'm letting the show. But I can't knock what you're saying because if you're gonna trade away, what was it, 4 or 5 picks?
5 picks,
Seven
man.
picks? Five, right?
5.
Yeah, 5 picks for a guy who's gonna be your 3 or 4 in terms of scoring. It's like, yeah, y'all gave up way too much for a number 3 or number 4 option. That is a little much. And you got the Knick fan Doc. He agrees that Tibbs did all he can do.
Yeah, it's time. He's got to, thank you for changing. Thank you for helping us establish something here. But we might have to go in a different direction.
Yeah, he definitely helped with the winning culture. Excuse me for a second, but he did help with a winning culture. And I do naturally like Tom Tibbs because he was a bull, so the love is still there, even though his rotations are a bit much. Tom Tibbs, I mean, I appreciate what he did for the Bulls. Shit, I can even sit here as just a fan of basketball and appreciate what he did for the Knicks because, boy, whew, he did change the culture. He really did. He brought his players in from the Bulls. Then y'all miraculously got, I'm about to say Rick, Jalen Brunson, and he just turned
Bronson,
in, he
yeah.
turned out to be an animal. He's an animal. And then you get Towns, you get your use Hart, you use him to his fullest potential. You got to give Tibbs props for that because he saw that in him. He saw whatever he saw in DiVincenzo. Like, Tibbs brought out and it's like you got to perform when he puts you in the game because that's how you
You
get your
do,
minutes.
but you got to remember a lot of this also happened when Nick started getting hurt last year. Debo went on that crazy run. Hart
Y'all
established
did get
himself
hurt.
as the heart. He's like the new Starks. He established himself as the heart of the team. And because we don't have any assets and the contract numbers, if you trade for somebody, it's more likely than not Hart you got to throw into that.
Right.
So.
No, I got you. Jason Hart, I ain't going to front. I mean, is it Jason Hart?
Nah, man. Let's just call him Hart.
Yeah. I be forgetting names now. I done turned into Doc. But salute, Doc. Appreciate you for coming through. Good night at the plantation. Don't let them have you picking too much. But yeah, Hart, Josh Hart, excuse me.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, Josh Hart. Since he got there, it's like, man, because who he start with? Charlotte or something. He was with the Lakers, and he wasn't getting a shot. This is why I have to give Tibbs flowers too, because he gave guys like Josh Hart, like, I believe in you, man. You showed me some things in practice. It carried over the games. Now you're a starting 2 guard. It's like, man, Josh Hart is dope as hell. And New York needs to make sure he gets put into all-star games at least every other year as long as he's there. And performing the way he's performing. Now, y'all got a tough matchup coming up next in Boston. How do you think y'all guys fare? You're going to fare in Boston?
I think the physical beating we just took with Detroit is going to help the Knicks. I don't know if we're going to win, but I see Game 7.
Game 7 Boston?
I see Game 7.
Now, I have never, I don't think I've ever rooted for you guys against Boston because I think Boston's going to be the champs again. It's just beautiful to watch it. It's like, all right, I hate them, but it's like watching the Yankees versus Red Sox. Of course, I root for the Red Sox, but it's always going to be a hard-fought battle, hard-fought series. And it's always going to be enjoyable. If you like the sport, it's going to be enjoyable because they're going to leave it all on the court. They're going to leave it all on the court. I just think that Boston has the upper hand.
They do, they do, but
The Knicks just have to play perfect.
it's not only perfect, but again, that ass whooping they just took physically. Boston, on a scale of 1 to 10, might be a 5 compared to the physicality Detroit brought to them. So that
Right,
kind of
listeners,
puts them
finesse.
on the right path to get past some of this stuff. It's just a matter of the rotation. Again, I don't know if you remember from day one, I've been complaining about that Towns trade. I'm like, we gave up a lot of heart to get him. He's always been known as a soft player, and I
But
and and
I
if you
think
look
he's good
closely,
enough.
when Detroit bodied him the most, he disappeared. That won't happen in Boston. So hopefully, he'll have his signature series coming up.
Yeah, and you know who plays well against you guys? Your ex center Porzingis.
Porzingis, yeah.
He plays very well against you guys. Like it's like he waits and marks it on his calendar. You think y'all got what it takes to stop him, slow him down at least?
I think we do. It depends on what the rotation is. I happen to think, and I know a lot of people said Mitchell Robinson and Towns should be on the floor at the same time. But the few times they've been on the floor together, they're both kind of slow, lumbering bigs. So that doesn't work against every team. But I think
Right.
against Boston it'll work because
Yeah,
Porzingis
because
is
he's not like
technically a lightweight.
Porzingis.
He's a little light in the loafers, Porzingis. So
Yeah,
who he's going to guard? He's got to come out and guard Towns, or he's going to stay low and guard Mitchell.
and I think he would guard Mitchell. I would think he's
So
guard Mitchell. Mitchell. Hold on, bro. I could drop the link. Hold on. Pause. Give me a second. We talking New York sports. We gonna pause, touch on LeBron James as we're talking on basketball, and as we're talking football. Of course, we're gonna talk the draft. Shador Sanders falling the fifth round. Excuse me, the fifth round. Excuse me. But yeah, give me a second, BT. Um, shit. Okay. I know what I gotta do. But it's gonna be. I think I'm definitely gonna. I have to. I think it's gonna be my duty to check out that Boston series because
I think
that's
it's
gonna
going to
be
be a good
again
one.
friends to me.
And everyone's talking about, oh yeah, I didn't beat him at all during the regular season. So what?
That don't mean shit. It's the
So what?
playoffs, man. It's different. It's very, very different. Yeah, I sent it to you, BT. I'm trying to wait. I'm trying to stall so you can catch some of the Knicks before we move on to LeBron James, unless that's what you wanted to talk. But I sent that out. Let me know if you got that. But yeah, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, that Boston team and the coaching. That guy is good over there. I didn't think he was gonna be that good.
See,
He's
but
good.
this is why I think it's time for Tibbs to go. Most of these good coaches
Are
will
young.
see their regular game plan not working and they make adjustments, they make changes. Tibbs just keeps forcing it down your throat. Like, if you really think about it, he made no adjustments in any second half of this Detroit series at all.
Mm.
You could have literally, just for defense, brought Precious in for a couple of minutes on somebody.
Yeah, because he was showing that he was a capable player last year. He was showing that. He showed that bits and pieces this year.
Yeah.
BT, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the show.
Wow, what's good, Uncle?
What's going on, champ? I'm here
Not
with my
much,
boy
man.
Frank. Frank is BT. BT is Frank.
All right.
Peace and blessings. How you doing today, sir?
All right.
I'm blessed too. How you doing? Um, yeah, man, I totally agree. I think the Knicks are gonna really have to address some things in the draft. I actually like what y'all got roster wise, but I think size wise, y'all aren't bad, but y'all gonna need an athletic. Y'all gonna need a little more athleticism. I mean, competing in the East, you're competing against some of the most athletic teams in the entire league. Um, teams that can really not only push you around, but really get athletic down the court, really wear you out quickly. So, there's going to be that measure in the draft today. But the question I have for you is, what's the outlook for the Knicks next season? Uh, Besides roster improvements, do you like where you're at coaching wise?
Frank, that's you. I'm a Bulls fan.
I already said I think it's time to thank him for doing what he had to do with the culture, but it's time to go. Uh, his inability to manage minutes. I hate to say it because the Knicks have won under him, but his inability to make adjustments. There's times his game plan is just not working. The other team made adjustments to clamp down on Brunson, and he doesn't do anything to change his plan. It's like, it's my plan. This is what it is. It's time to bring in somebody who can see the bigger picture and not necessarily tear down anything that's in place, but help expand on it and help with some. It's time to use the bench. It's literally time to use the bench more consistently.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I'm not a fan, but as a person that sits and watches, and as I'm a Bulls fan, so I had Coach Tibbs for 5 years myself, 4 or 5, 6 years myself, and even as a Bulls fan, he did not utilize. That's how you find out. You find your diamonds in the rough. That's how you find, like, who can I plug in for Derrick Rose? Who can I plug in for Jimmy Butler? Who can I plug in for Carlos Boozer? And so on and so forth. And it's like he substitutes big men. He'll substitute the five. Joakim Noah got his rest for Nazi Muhammad or whoever was gonna play behind him. Even but you got from Taj Gibson down. That's the four on down. They were on the floor maybe more than they should have been. And even Joakim Noah, that's why his career got ended with plantar fasciitis. If you really realize it and you pay attention, Joakim's Noah career ended because of plantar fasciitis. He was never the same for anyone else ever again.
But that goes back to the comment I made earlier. Brunson is kind of a bottom heavy player, and he's continuously hurting his legs. At some point, you've got to take that stress off of him.
Yes. And at least his ankles and not knees, a la Derrick Rose. It's like, man, 35, 36 minutes should be the limit. And if you're losing, I understand you're giving guys 40 minutes. But no one should play past 40, 42 minutes. Not back-to-back games. Definitely not back-to-back games.
So y'all play Boston tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they play Boston.
You're playing against a team in Boston that is the sum of some very efficient parts. First of all, sir, congratulations on y'all season. Old boy has coached y'all way better. I think y'all are a top 12 roster. Y'all have a very good roster, but based on what y'all got, he far outperformed what I thought y'all would have been. Y'all went 15-29 this year. Y'all were top 10, both in offensive efficiency as well as inside the paint defense, stuff like that. So really well balanced team. Tomorrow, y'all are playing against a team that they make their money off of manhandling people with their efficiency. So the question I got to you today is, what's the key? Can you give me 2 to 3 keys, please, about how y'all gonna win tomorrow?
Oh, me. All right.
Yeah.
Again, I think it comes down to the rotation. Like, at the beginning of the Detroit series, I literally said, why doesn't he just start Robinson, Towns together? Precious comes in, gives Towns the 4 minute breather. Towns comes back, he moves over, gives Robinson a 2 or 3 minute breather. You can keep your bigs fresh. You can, because after Porzingis, they're really, I'm not gonna say they're a finesse team, but they're not really bangers like that.
Yeah, they're not.
So if you can control and dominate the middle, you gotta hope to break even on the outside. You know, Brown and what's his face, elite
Tatum.
level Tatum. Tatum, elite level. Tandem. But if you can control one aspect, you can try to break even on the next one. And I think this is what it's going to come down to: controlling the paint and being able to match moves with the opposing coach. We got to be able to, like he said, considering our talent, Tibbs brought out more in the team than anybody else might have, but that came at the cost of running the players down.
Yeah,
You
that is
know,
true.
It's like you have a great thing at point guard, so let's just make sure he plays every minute of every game. Maybe we don't, maybe we don't wind up that high, but you got to start giving some of these dudes a break, and he's got to figure it out because the Boston coaching is going to run us off the court if we don't figure this out.
Yes.
Tomorrow's going to be a good sign. The only thing we got going is we just finished playing. Boston's been sitting for a minute.
Absolutely.
If we can't take advantage of their rust, well,
Yeah.
I said I see a game 7. If we don't take advantage of their rust, it might not make it to 5.
Right, and the dangerous part about Boston is they beat you up early.
Yeah,
They kind of remind me of the Philadelphia Eagles in football, right? Philadelphia is the master of manhandling people really early in the game, and they basically turn the game into a boxing match, right? And when you get physical, it's bad enough. Boston is a top 5 shooting team, which is scary to think about because they're so big. A team that can shoot well and they're big like that, that's a very dangerous team. Now, I think Jalen Brunson is one of the most athletic players in basketball. I think that pound for pound, he's probably one of the best pure scorers in the game. However, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown are one of the most dangerous duos in basketball. In your opinion, do you like Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson against Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown?
point for point. Yes. The difference is going to be defensively. Brown is not, not Brown. Excuse me. Towns is not the greatest defensive. You can get 30 points, but you can't give up 35 kind of thing. And I think the Celtics do a good job of man for man, position for position, outscoring their each individual assignment 2-3 points at a time. Towns has got to figure out a better way. That's what I'm saying. Bring him over to the power forward and bring Mitchell Robinson in there. Alleviate the need for Towns to be defensive because he's never been that.
Yeah.
You bring in 2 bigs and let Precious come in and rotate them in and out. Precious gets minutes and they both get a nice little rest and a nice little run. And if it's tight at the end, oh yeah, I Tatum and Brown, Brunson and Towns, I'll take that in a tight game in the last 5 minutes.
As well as Mikal Bridges. Mikal
I
Bridges has really
yo.
come along. Has really come along. I remember in Villanova. I think that he's even though Jalen Brunson's probably the best player, not just on the Knicks, one of the best players in the East. I think Mikal Bridges has really come along defensively. But I just think that, as you mentioned before, sir, it's going to come down to coaching because Thibodeau against this the young man for Boston who has gone from being Ime Udoka's replacement to a legit top 3 coach in basketball, and
Yeah, he's
you
dope.
know,
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm gonna be honest with
Mazzulla's
you.
dope.
Um, you're playing against a juggernaut, So I don't need to tell you that you're playing against an
No, we
actual
don't.
juggernaut. Playing against an actual juggernaut. So it's gonna take a lot to beat this team. But continue.
No, but even the physicality, I was mentioning that earlier. I think Detroit did the Knicks a favor with how brutal they, let's be real. If you take the wins and losses out of this, Detroit beat our asses. And I think that's going to come in handy because Boston may be a physical team, but they don't compare to Detroit. So the Knicks on that aspect are now prepared for this, as opposed to walking into it blind. They're prepared for some of it. It's just going to come down to, can we keep the games close enough so that we can get our scorers scoring in the last 5 minutes? There's a difference between trying to win a game in the last 5 and trying to cut that lead down from 12 to 5, within 2 minutes. It's going to be a different ball game if we got to keep chasing them. If we got to chase them, if we're within 15 in the last 2 minutes, it's going to end. They're going to be up by 30. If we got to chase them, they're just going to put their foot on our throats and keep going.
Agreed. Um, you don't want to be behind by 10 points or more against a team like that. That's a team that is designed to really take you out whenever they have a big lead on you.
And they look like they're having fun while they're doing it, which makes it worse.
Like with Philadelphia, when Philadelphia got up on Kansas City, and I told people, you know, um, That's not the kind of team you want to fall behind because defensively they strip you of your run game, and they force you to throw. And then offensively, with that huge offensive line and the fact that they're so good on third down, they basically just they drag the game out. And like you said, when they're up by 10 points, they make it fun. They make a show out of it. They make a showman out of you.
Yeah.
Boston is like the most complete team. Like I called them winning last year, and I honestly think they're going to win again this year. If Boston wasn't there, I'd probably have the Knicks really higher up on who I think has the ability to win because I think the Knicks wouldn't have much problem with West Coast teams. But I think this is where you're seeing y'all needed Hartenstein. I mean, if y'all could, humor me a little, you think you'd have did better with Hartenstein there if y'all still had him?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because I
Absolutely.
think his loss was more than DiVincenzo. Even though I like DiVincenzo, I'm a guard myself. But Hartenstein, like
He was he
he's
was low.
different.
First off, his IQ is off the charts. He was a facilitator from the center position, and he was low key. He was low key tough. You weren't gonna just come in there prancing in the middle trying to dunk on everybody with him there. And
Yeah, facts.
sometimes do what you do at your home, don't do it in my home. That kind of thing. So it's yeah. But the
Yeah,
money
it would definitely help. I like
that
DiVincenzo, but I don't think DiVincenzo would have more of an impact than Hartenstein would have. But he got what 55? What? No, he got 20 million a year now
yeah.
to play with. Yeah, so you can't turn that
He
down.
got like
Love or
27.
no love.
That's why they had to shut it down.
Yeah, it was difficult, and I think that's what pushed the Knicks to go get Towns, which I'm gonna still say was a good pickup. I like Towns. I've always liked Towns. Only thing I don't like about Towns is his voice, but that doesn't have anything to do with anything else. And it looked like if Towns would just assert himself, like sit there, it looks like. All right, I was seeing this earlier on another podcast. It seems like the NBA was allowing tougher defense in these play. You see how Ant-Man was playing against LeBron, throwing him forearms into him, throwing his body into him. It looks like they're allowing a little bit more.
Which
And
I
I think,
appreciate.
huh?
As a
Yeah,
fan, I appreciate that.
I appreciate that too. And if the Knicks go back to 1990s ball and they get really physical with Boston, if they just get physical with them, take your technicals, just get physical, make them, make them angry, make them try to throw them off. Be, a little more 90s Knicks, they have a chance to maybe, surprise them. But I'm not gonna lie, I got Boston. I'm with Farquhar, Boston at 6.
I'm seeing 7.
7. I
I,
mean, hey, I'm not mad at that, but
I see the
I just
7.
don't think it's gonna be
I
the Knicks
take the
that
Knicks to
lead
pull
on
off the
top.
biggest upset in the last 2 to 3 years. I take the Knicks in 6.
Knicks in 6.
Yes, sir.
My
That
man.
would be a big ass upset. That would be an awesome upset. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie. That would
I
be an
say the
awesome
Knicks. I say
upset.
the Knicks surprise the world with their physicality, and I also say that they challenge Boston's. They get Boston off script, so to speak, and they get Boston off their efficiency. And I say they drag this game out into a game 6. Drag this game out to potentially a game 7. I say New York wins 4-2.
Now, besides the outcome, you basically said the same thing I just said, brother. Like you said, the Knicks gotta, play New York bully basketball. And that's what's gonna, you know what I mean? Because Boston ain't used to getting punched in the mouth. If the Knicks go back to punching people in the mouth, like when they had Oakley and Ewing and that squad that, they refused to break up no matter what happened. That squad right there, that Jeff Van Gundy, Pat Wright. Well, no, Jeff Van Gundy. I like Jeff Van Gundy's Knicks because his Knicks were, to me, his Knicks were good. They were like Detroit a little bit. If you think about it, they slowed the pace down with Charlie Ward. They played physical defense. They wasn't gonna let you just, punk them into scoring inside. So if the Knicks can repeat that and go back to that against Boston, throwing bodies on Porzingis, throwing bodies on Al Horford. Those guys are finesse players. Now, Al Horford probably
Yeah.
could switch You know, they can switch Al Horford. I ain't talking about Porzingis. Porzingis is a finesse 4 or 5. I mean, he's a finesse 5, and he's still good. I'm not saying I'm not taking anything from him. But if y'all start throwing some of that 250-pound Mitchell Robinson, 260-pound Towns, and start, you know, making him work for that money, y'all have a chance to at least, go 7 to me.
Oh, Uncle Jay,
Then
what you
y'all
think
be
about?
able to go 7 and possibly
What,
come
but,
out on top.
this is why I say, excuse me, Precious needs some run. You can
Mm-hmm.
be physical. You can be physical with him all you want, but if he knows that's the game plan, he can adjust. But you get physical with him, and then you got Precious come out there and try to run circles around him. You, Porzingis can be taken out of his game. He can be
Yeah,
taken
I
out of
agree.
his game. Which I'm saying, if we can control that middle, this is a series.
Yeah, because it's the series. Last year, I was looking forward to it. I wish it was further down the line, you know, next round, because those are the best teams in the East. If you think about it, pound for Cleveland is good, yeah, but if you think about it, pound, it's the Knicks and it's the Celtics. It's the Knicks and Celtics, man, coming out the East. Like that's just what I see. Cleveland will be a nice surprise, but yeah, it's the Knicks
They're not
and I
athletic
don't
enough to
believe
beat
I'm
either
saying
one of
this.
those teams. As much as I like, and now Cleveland, if you saw, they set an all-time league record for highest point efficiency, and they're also one of the top 5 highest scoring team in league history, which can be attributed to their schedule. People will say they didn't have the hardest schedule in the league, but here's my thing with Cleveland. I'm not a believer in their coach, and I also don't think that they're a deep enough team to beat a team like New York or Boston.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But you
I
know,
like
but
Jared
Uncle,
Allen over there. I'm gonna
yeah,
keep it 100. I love Jared Allen. That's why
yeah.
I mentioned Cleveland at all because Jared Allen is like I wanted him to go to us meaning the Bulls. But I mean, they got a nice little camp over there with Spider. They got a nice squad over there. They do have, but it's not. They can't beat Boston. I don't think they could beat the Knicks. I just don't. I don't.
What you think of the draft, Uncle Jay? NFL draft, if you don't mind me asking.
NFL draft. Hold on. I am going to get to that. We're going to talk
Or take
about
your
that.
time. Yeah.
Wait, we going. I want to hit the LeBron James thing. What do y'all think he should do now? What did y'all expect from him? And then we could jump right to the draft.
Go ahead. You first, sir.
Uh,
I think LeBron has got to hurry up and accept he's a number 2 now. He's got to stop bringing up the ball. He still has it in him to drop a easy 20-25, but he can't be the focal point anymore. And the flopping got to stop. They for 2 years, all I've been hearing is they're gonna start calling the flop. They're gonna start calling the flop. Meanwhile, he's wailing around on the floor like a fish out of water, and everyone's looking the other way. At,
yeah,
at what point does that nonsense stop?
no, that's a fact. Now with LeBron James, I'm saying the same thing that Frank is saying. Imagine your LeBron James is your third option or second option. That's a championship if LeBron James is your third option, second option. Like I'm not saying throw him to Charlotte or to with LaMelo Ball in them. No, I ain't saying that. But imagine putting LeBron James in Sacramento. Imagine his ass decides to go to shit. Imagine he went to Detroit to play small forward but behind Cade Cunningham, let Cade Cunningham run his team
He would
because
have to
they did
let Cade run
well
that
mixing at
team.
the home.
He
Huh?
would have to let Cade run the team though.
That's what I'm saying. Let Cade run the team. It's time for Braun to take a step back. Now, I would tell him to retire for legacy purposes because 4 chips in 23 years, which would be next year, 4 chips in 23 years as you was the leader of the Lakers with Luka Doncic, and y'all gave away 2/3 of your goddamn defense when you got rid of Anthony Davis. Sorry, yeah, he's injury riddled, but he would have been better in the damn playoffs than Luka Doncic. And I'm not taking nothing from Luka. I love Luka. I'm a Luka fan. I like Luka Doncic. I've been watching videos and shit of him. When he got to the league, I know that he was going to be better than Trae Young to me. Neither one of them plays defense. But if you're going to ask me to pick, I'm going to take Luka Doncic because that man's been a professional since he's 16 years old. But when it comes down to shit now, giving away your defense, like Anthony Davis could put up, with him paired with LeBron, Anthony Davis could put up 25, 30 points a game, just like Luka Doncic could put up 25, 30 a game. But Luka Doncic ain't stopping that middle. He's not making people scared to go to the rack. CeeLo, salute, bro. So I think LeBron needs to realize he should be a second option. And shit, if he's the third option, you're guaranteed a chip if LeBron James is your third option. That's a fact.
I agree. I agree with the third option thing, but I also believe it's time for Mr. James to retire. For the sake of his legacy and for the
For
sake of
legacy, yes.
the fact that if you're the Lakers right now, you have a top 10 roster, top 6 possibly. LeBron James, if you try to force him to be your number 2, because like you said, he's a number 3. If you try to force LeBron James to be your number 2, you're gonna really demean your roster because there's a lot of guys on your bench who could be that number 2. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys on your bench, and on top of that, Luka Doncic is the best player on your team right now. Let him be the best player on your team, and if you play your cards right in the draft, LeBron you could easily get a guy who could be a serviceable guy behind LeBron, so to speak. But I think me personally, I have respect for Mr. James because he is an historical icon. I think it might be time for him to retire. This was a pretty bad loss. This loss was comparable to Drew Brees' last loss with the Saints. It's the kind of loss where it's time to hang it up because you're more a liability. Not because you're not good anymore, but because the team needs to go look somewhere else. But
I don't think he should be the number 1 option. Yes, he's still talented. Yes, he's still great. No one ever questioned his greatness. The question was he the greatest of all time? No, he's not. And the more he plays, the longer he plays as trying to be the number 1 guy, all he's doing is tanking his own legacy. And it's like, bruh, relax while you're like number 3. Because Steph Curry is creeping on the come up. Steph Curry is really No, Steph Curry is not a better player than LeBron James. No. But it is possible for him to have a better career and finish better than LeBron James.
Curry's the reason I don't have LeBron as the greatest ever.
I won't.
Yes, today's athletes are better trained. Their longevity is crazy. They play longer than yesterday's players. But no one dominated when Magic and Bird were the dominant players. No one dominated when it was Jordan. Curry can make the point that he's dominated more than LeBron, and it's supposed to be LeBron's era.
I agree.
Exactly, brother. You said like Curry is right there. He's right there. You cannot discredit Steph Curry.
When you think of all the players who considered the greatest, and you look at them in their era, even Bill Russell, he played against Wilt Chamberlain. Chamberlain didn't dominate. Russell did.
Yeah, they didn't eat on Bill Russell.
When you think of the icons who controlled the era, they were the only ones eating during that time. And during LeBron's time, everybody ate.
Yeah, and that's been said on countless shows. And they try to bring up, the people who ate on. No, they didn't really eat on Jordan's watch. They ate while Jordan was young and learning. So I wouldn't mind. You sit there and say, but Jordan lost to the Celtics. Bruh, you got 4 Hall of Famers. 4 against 1 guy. But this ain't even about Jordan, because I don't even like to bring up Jordan when we're talking about LeBron, because there's no comparison to me. But LeBron James, like, once he sat there, this is why everybody's so critical of LeBron James. He sat there and said he's the greatest in the world. Not the world, excuse me, greatest of all time. Like, bro, you are the greatest in the world right now. Yeah, hold that. But when you started saying shit that no one else said, now we're going to hold you to that. So now when you sit there and you flop, that shit is looking like 10 flops instead of 1. When you sit there and if you miss a buzzer beater, it's like you missed 10. You just sat there and got gentlemanly swept. Gentleman sweep. And you got one of the arguably best players in the NBA on your side in Luka Doncic. So it's like, what do you expect from the guy who said, hey, I'm the greatest ever. I'm the greatest in the world. Well, you got to prove it, bro. You got to prove it. And he has yet to prove it. And I'm still going to say this right now in front of you two guys. That bubble champion was bull crap. It was crap.
Facts.
It was crap.
That's why I don't think Alabama should get any Alabama that year and they won the national championship. That they are nowhere near. That team should never ever be called no type of all bro. You played a schedule of teams that were heavily affected due to COVID opt-outs and God knows what else. Alabama shouldn't even be national champions that year, even much less so compared to 2019 LSU. Don't ever disrespect LSU like that. Church.
That's said by a man from Louisiana. Shout out to the loop.
Yeah, like the way y'all treat basketball is how we treat football. So I understand, baby. I know y'all probably love football, but football down here defines like the way basketball defines the culture where y'all might be from. Football defines the culture where I'm from, and I'll be the first one to tell you, 2020 Alabama was a good team, probably even a great team. You played an All SEC schedule full of teams that had Florida's quarterback was out half the season. And Alabama only beat them by 7. Alabama beat Ohio State. Ohio State only had half a roster. Like, the best thing they played all year was Notre Dame. But I don't mean to make this about me. Y'all can go back ahead. But yeah, that bubble championship was straight fluky.
Yeah, because you had guys, what's dude that was on Phoenix? All of a sudden, he's dropping 27 a game.
Oh.
And then the next year, you thinking like, all right, well, dude was killing in the bubble. He didn't
Facts,
do a
man.
damn thing. That bubble was fugazi. Doc, hold on.
It was like
Yellow
running
tape.
games at the Y.
Yeah, that shit was like, man, let's. That bubble was trash to me, because LeBron and Laker fans or what. Some Laker fans will tell you that bubble was trash, but a LeBron fan will tell you, hey, it counts. It does, but it was whack. Don't mention the San Antonio, New York Knicks lockout, because we got to see a championship game. That was a championship game, and then San Antonio decided, hey, you know what? Let's win 4 more. Let's win 4 more in the next 7, 8 seasons. How about that? The Lakers didn't do that. They won their little bullshit bubble, and then they've been shitty ever since. Not shitty, but they haven't been no powerhouse. My boy, Rich, he sat there after the trade was made. He was like, "You don't think they're gonna make it to the Eastern Conference?" No, they just made themselves worse. Yes, they're better offensively, but they just took away their defense. Anthony Davis is a perennial defender. Doesn't matter how much he gets. Yeah, he gets hurt. I understand, but he's still a perennial defender. And I know that's like, wow. Yeah, you got Luka Doncic. Yeah, he's a generational talent offensively. He's an offensive basketball player. He's not a two-way player. So to give up Anthony Davis and think that you're going to have the same success is just a little bit crazy to me, especially when you got Luka and just Luka. It's not like you got Luka and one of their big men, somebody tall, somebody who's young, who possibly can fill at least the defensive space that AD provided. It's crazy. James is doing something that he loves. Production is not given. Poor quality may not be championship caliber, but the quality is still good. We should stop doing what we love. No, he shouldn't retire. But now, Mr. Yellow Tape, bruh, it went from a decent discussion of him being the GOAT. Decent. I never agreed with him being the GOAT ever, because I still put Kobe ahead of him. But it was a decent discussion. The more years he plays, no matter how much he loves the game. Yeah, you love the game. Shit. I'm not mad at you loving the game. But are you still look what Vince Carter did to his, he didn't fuck up his legacy, but I mean, look what he did, just playing all these extra years for no reason. So if
You ain't
LeBron's going to
lying.
keep trying to be the number one, and he's 43, 44, 45, whatever he wants to play it. I don't care. But you can't keep sitting here and trying to call this man the greatest of all time. Not after 4 championships in 27 years. You're not going to do that. Because now Robert Parrish is better than him. His legacy, in terms of legacy, not in terms of skill, in terms of legacy. Now Larry Bird is ahead of you. That whole Boston squad is ahead of you. They might not be better players, but they had better careers. Stephen Curry, that man, like you just said, everybody knows this. He's creeping on the come up. Steph Curry might not win another championship, but he's not going to stay in the game for another 5, 6, 7 years trying to chase LeBron or whoever he's trying to chase. So at the end of the day, Steph Curry would have a better legacy than LeBron because let's say Steph plays only 20 years. He got 4 in 20 years. LeBron is 4 in 22. And he's not going to retire because LeBron, I'm not even going to sit here and lie. LeBron is still great enough to continue playing. He's just not the A-man anymore.
He's no longer a top 10 player.
He's still top 10. He's just not the A-man for his team.
He's not top 5. He's not top. He's really not
He's
top
not
6.
top 5. No.
He's not top 6. And the reason why I say he's not top 10 is because with each draft class and with each time the superstars like the Anthony Edwards and guys like the guy for OKC getting each time their rosters get bolstered, that puts them further ahead. Not because they're better all time, better legacy wise, but just in this current climate we're in, they're just better because they're younger. They got less wear and tear. But as far as his legacy, unfortunately, he couldn't catch up with Robert Parrish because Robert Parrish won more titles. And he won more. They have the same amount of titles, but Robert won his sooner. And in my opinion, he played on more dominant teams than LeBron James did.
Yeah, because his whole career with the Celtics, he got 3 chips with the Celtics and 1 or 2 with the Bulls to end it. So it's like, come on, bro. And Robert Parrish was nobody's bum when he was playing.
No, he's a top.
So it's like,
Robert Parrish is a solid top 10 player ever.
Yeah, he was a solid top center. I'll say maybe top 15 center of all time. But Robert Parrish,
I'll put him a little closer, man. Let the league. I mean, one of the first centers to ever be a top 5 scorer in the league. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, Parrish was good. Parrish was good.
So
Parrish
maybe
was
that's because that's a guy I used to watch his highlights religiously. So maybe I'm a little biased, but I'm gonna just say this.
No, Parrish was dope.
I used to watch his highlights. I used to watch the Boston teams religiously because those teams were the best teams in league history, in my opinion, consistently. Now, individually, there's better teams, but the Robert Parrish Boston Celtics teams consistently were the best teams in the league.
Yeah, they were fucking awesome. The only ones that could stop was LA and then Detroit.
Even then,
until
man,
they broke up. But before we leave the basketball realm, yes, LeBron James is still a great player. He's not the greatest, and I don't even think that should be mentioned anymore. Like, for real now. Like, you can't keep mentioning it as the greatest. Yeah, he's dope. He's still doing his thing at 41 years old, 42, whatever the fuck age, 40, whatever he is. He's still dope. But it's time. It always comes a time when you need to pass the torch because your way of winning is that's it. You as the focal point on a winning team is not winning anymore. It's not doing anything. And they did way better than I thought they would do with JJ Redick. So shout out to JJ Redick. But
surprised the hell out of me. I'll tell you that damn much. Part of my French.
Yeah, it's time to
surprised the hell out of me. I thought there was a disadvantage with him, but I ain't gonna lie to you, baby. They outcoached it. They was outcoaching people, bro.
Word. Frank, you got anything to say about Braun and retiring or Redick or whatever before we bounce on?
Redick, I think he's better than advertised. And considering the constraints he's got with having to deal with LeBron's ego, there's no way in the world you can call him a bad coach. He did what he had to do. But, I mean, I don't know about retiring, if you can still play, because everybody still likes doing what they're going to like doing regardless of age. He's just got to concede. He's not a point guard. Give it up. You might no longer drop 30, but you can still defend a little here and there. You You can't add to the liability by pretending you can't do some of it yourself. But you can't teach no dog new tricks. So I don't see how this works out at all.
No, damn, you just really, really, really made a fucking great point, because if he's used to being a man for 22 years, that 23rd year, he's still going to want to be the man because he still has faith in himself, which I'm not mad at, but it's like, bro, you got to look at the results, brother. Like, it's over, bro. Like, you being the face of the team, it's over. I don't even think anyone is scared of you, because the way Anthony Edwards played against him, so physical, the
Nah,
physicality,
I just think
and not
Edwards.
caring.
I just think Edwards
That,
is disrespectful.
yeah, Anthony Edwards did
Edwards
not
is just
care.
disrespectful. He don't care who it was.
Yeah,
Which you kind of got to have that mentality when you go against the referee's players. LeBron being one. You got to let the referee know, I don't care who this is in front of me. And
yeah.
and Edwards did a great job of that.
Anthony Edwards guarded that man like that man said something about his mother. Like the times where they were faced up. I'm watching Anthony Edwards like, you're not going to get your 270. I'm not going to let you get your 270 revved up into third and fourth gear where I can't stop you. We're going to stop this right now. Forearm to the chest. Boom. Yeah, back up. Forearm to the chest. Boom, back up.
No, he
And I'm
did that.
saying,
He did it.
yeah,
But Edwards returned it. Like, don't do that again.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
not me. I'm saying this about Ant-Man. Ant-Man was
oh,
sitting
I think
there
man,
and
LeBron
this
was
shit in contact.
because
He
LeBron tried to
was
put an elbow on him at one point. Edwards returned it, and you
yes.
could see the English in that. Don't do it again.
Don't do that no more. And then he was
Yeah,
sitting there like, yo, ref, what's good? Stop, bopping and burping. Where's the technical fouls? You bopping and burping on number 23 and purple and gold. He's sitting there, he's not supposed to criticize the officiating. That's supposed to be a technical, but y'all letting him get away with that.
you know when I knew it was over in that matchup. Um, there was one play where Luca wound up at the line. They called a touch foul on him, but the whole way up, Edwards was bodying LeBron. And then the camera pans to the side, like when the dude's ready to throw his, put up his free throw, and you see LeBron joking with Ant-Man. Right then and there, I knew that that little one-on-one is over. You don't joke
Yeah,
with the dude that's trying to fracture your ribs at all.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. You ain't
Like,
lying, bro.
like
You're my enemy right now.
when I saw the two of them smiling, I was like, wait, now LeBron's smile was like, Ant's smile was like, yeah, keep acting like we friends. Like there was a difference there. I knew it was over right then and there. I knew it was over for LeBron.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
that's the
yeah.
new line. That's the new line leading the pack, man. What you saw, in my honest opinion, sir, what you saw, LeBron James kind of receded to the younger, stronger athlete.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, I was a part of LeBron James' entire, just like everybody, I was a part of his entire generation of dominance. And Anthony Edwards, he's not LeBron James, but I will say he is the next star in the league.
Yeah,
He is the
for
next star
sure.
now, and that's just how unreasonably dominant LeBron is. When he was young, Anthony Edwards is arguably the best player in the league. He's not even close to how good LeBron James was. Not even
Yeah,
close.
LeBron.
Great
Yeah,
player though.
because LeBron's size. See, Ant-Man is gonna get more credit if he continues this, because when you dominate at 6'4", like LeBron is 6'8", 6'9", 270. Ant-Man is 6'4", but what, 210, 220?
I think
If
it's
he's
gonna.
220.
I think it's gonna be shy.
That's a
Shy
good
is
one
good too.
too.
We are forgetting about Shy because we're on the East Coast and we're not even talking West Coast shit. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Shy is dope. Shy could be the face of the NBA, because I remember when he once, like 5 years ago, said, "Yeah, I could do what LeBron James do," and I sat there and laughed. I sat there and laughed. I apologize, Shy. I apologize, bro. I apologize. You really can do what he
Uh,
can
The
do.
reason the reason I think it could be him is one, he's got a more complete game than Edwards. And more importantly, a few weeks ago, somebody was talking to Edwards about what does he think he's got to do to be the face of the league, and he came right out and said, "I don't want to be the face of the league.
Oh
So
wow.
I think he's gonna be. He might be Shy's, Curry. Like you're not gonna fully dominate because I'm still here, but
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna be him. Although I like him as a player better because he brings more excitement, I don't think it's gonna be him.
he does bring a lot of it. Yeah, when you just brought up Shy, because I ain't gonna front, we've been talking East Coast ball. Besides the Lakers, well, we've been talking East Coast ballers. And Shy and him, they on the West, man. The West is for real. And it's like the only team that can beat teams on the West is the Knicks and Boston. To me, in a 7-game series with certain teams, I would choose the Knicks to win. I just don't think the Knicks could beat Boston. That's what's
Yeah.
stopping them from getting to the over the hump
I
in,
don't mean
in
I don't mean
Boston.
I don't mean to interrupt, but the Mets are about to get swept in this doubleheader. Jeez.
Oh my gosh. Matter of fact, we can that's perfect right there. We can speak on the Mets.
I thought we were gonna do
Shit.
football first.
No, because I know football gonna take the longest because the draft. So we only gonna talk on the Mets because there ain't no Yankee fan here.
All
So we
right.
can speak on the Mets real quick.
Yeah, they just
Uh,
got swept. Over.
damn, and I was watching the damn game. But St. Louis, they always been MFers for us. They've been MFers for the major leagues anyway. But I think these are games that we should have won. I am surprised and happy at the same time, of course, that we are winning without Sean Manaea and having a full squad. They sent Brett Beatty down. Luis Angel Acuna is actually showed that he belongs in the major leagues, and he jumped ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
He jumped right ahead of everyone.
22-12 in an American League that's loaded is pretty good to me.
Yeah, 22-12. I'm not mad at us at all. I am not mad.
22-13. This is an official loss right now. 22-13.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah,
Damn.
22-13.
5-4. Jesus.
And we fought, man. Tyler McGill just had a bad game. And this is a team that, for some reason, St. Louis, they've always been a team that, they've been a nemesis no matter who they've had. Like when I was a kid, I like Ray Langford and, of course, Ozzie Smith, Brian Jordan. Like these guys were always thorn in our sides, like regardless of what's Willie McGee. Like I'm gonna take it back for you. Like St. Louis has always been a thorn in the Mets side, but we had a 9-game winning streak against them, and now we're back down to 2-game losing streak. What do you think we're gonna do this year, bro? It's just this one is quick. We're gonna jump right to the draft.
National League East Finals. And the Dodgers are going to be a problem.
Okay, I'm glad you said that.
I'm a Mets fan, though.
Me too. You know it.
We
Man.
The Dodgers can be beat. The breath ain't got to be that deep. Calm down. The Dodgers can be beat.
I do have the Dodgers as winning consecutive World Series. But you are right though. The Dodgers can be beat. The only thing is we have to play perfect, kinda. You gotta kind of play perfect. The Dodgers are Boston Celtics of baseball.
They are a machine. They
Yes.
have the single most dominant hitting lineup in modern baseball history.
Mm-hmm.
You can go at me all you want.
No, you're
That
right. You're
lineup,
right.
what you're
You're
seeing,
telling the truth.
that lineup, what you're seeing should not even exist. And no, the scariest part is there is a chance baseball's best player, besides Shohei, could have been Mike Trout was supposed to be on that roster as well. That's the scariest part. But that is the single most what you're seeing right now is a culmination of the single best front office management in the history of the sport of the 21st century. I'm not going to say history. And you're also seeing the best coaching staff in all of baseball. Because ain't Bruce Bochy over there right now? Well, first of all, let
Shit,
me say this before I continue. I'll pass it back to y'all.
Go
The San
ahead.
Francisco Giants are the dumbest franchise in baseball. Bruce Bochy built that franchise into a once in a couple years contender to a 4-time champion, and they said, "Bet, get lost."
Yeah.
That just goes to show you some people don't value you, man. In life, some people not gonna value you, man, and unfortunately, you just gotta show a bitch sometimes. Pardon my French.
Yeah, no. You're right though, because Bruce Bochy did build that team, but as a team that he built, you got to think about it. I ain't saying it's right, but as those guys now that you done brought them championships, you know, brought championships back to San Francisco, those dudes get old. Like Buster Posey, his body was older than he was. If you think about like
Yep,
the dude was getting pounded when before the rule came to where
definitely
you
pause.
couldn't hit the catcher anymore, or the catcher had to move out to like couldn't block the plate. Like Buster Posey was getting destroyed, and he still was one of the best hitters, especially at catcher, to play baseball. But just think about like how you could have just saved them. Like, and shout out to Joe Mauer too. I'm just throwing his name out there because I like Joe Mauer.
Joe was good from Minnesota. He was good, but Joe wasn't the monster Buster Posey was. If that makes sense.
Mm-mm. No, you're right. And his team wasn't as good as that Giants team. But as far as the Mets go, I think we're gonna be taken out by the Dodgers again. I see us, you know, doing our thing. I see us repeating last year, honestly, to be for real. And unless we play perfect baseball, I don't think we can get past the Dodgers. I don't think anyone can get past the Dodgers. No one. I think the Dodgers win again as far as baseball goes. I don't know if the Yankees are going to make it back to the World Series. I don't know. But as far as the National League goes, the NL goes, it's the Dodgers and then the Mets. To me, if we play perfect baseball and we're just clicking for 7 games,
You might have a shot. That's all I can give y'all.
yes,
And I love y'all. You know, y'all treated me so well when I visited New York and seen the Mets game. I seen y'all play against Boston that one time. Y'all treated me so well, and I want to say again, thank y'all for the respect y'all showed me. You know, but I will say this: unfortunately, in life, you got to play against it. Unfortunately, in life, you got to know your limits. And what we're seeing in LA
yeah,
right now is simply put juggernaut status.
yeah, they are, and if you know baseball, like you can't take that from them. Like you Mookie Betts and you got Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani, and it just doesn't. You got Shohei Ohtani in a damn pitching. Yamamoto, like I spoke on Yamamoto, and I knew he was going to be what he is. And then you still got Clayton Kershaw.
The greatest pitcher of our generation,
This
the
that's
greatest, maybe the
this is
greatest pitcher in the history of the game.
this is what I was about to say. Y'all keep mentioning that lineup. That's great and all, but the pitching has to be almost perfect like it was last year. You're asking 2 years of perfection. That's where I'm saying
Correct,
we can
sir.
take
You know,
him in
we
a
know
seven
the
game.
Mets. They gave up
Correct.
Walker Buehler.
You're
They let
correct.
him walk. You don't let Walker Buehler walk. They let Walker Buehler walk, and I
Their,
think he signed with Boston. I
their
wanted him. I
pitching
wanted
staff,
the Mets to go after him.
their pitching staff was just as amazing as their lineup last year, but that lineup completely overshadowed every talk show, every news headline. But that pitching staff was crazy. But
Yeah,
you're asking them to be crazy 2 years in a row,
Yeah, it's just kind of
and
unrealistic.
because baseball is the sport of the greedy owner, we're looking at some of those games getting played in 25-degree weather. The Mets can take them in 7.
It'll be hard, but yes,
but
sir, I
we
agree.
still have to play perfect. I'm a Mets fan, a diehard, like through and through. I have so much faith in us. Like it's just man. We have to play perfect to beat the Dodgers. Like we can't have meltdowns like we had today, where Tyler McGill gives up
You're right.
4
You're right.
runs. It's like we can't have those. And then Sean Manaea's not here. We ain't even seen Frankie Montas, and I never wanted him. I'd rather had took either Walker Bueller or the guy from Max Fried who went to the Yankees. I would have took Walker Buehler for he signed for 1 year or 2 years with Boston. We signed Frankie Montas for 2 years. We could have signed Walker Buehler because he's a way better pitcher than Frankie Montas.
Do you think Mookie Betts is now entered the conversation as one of the greatest players of all time?
Hell yeah. I mean, well, of
I,
all time, no, but he's one of the greats, period. Like, baseball has a lot of greats. There's too many. You can't put him, he can't skip over everybody. Not Mookie Betts. Like, he's a Hall of Famer. He's great. He's dope as fuck. He's an athlete through and through. Like, the man plays like every sport and bowling. So, I mean, he's dope, and he played second base, shortstop, right field, whatever you put him, he can perform.
A friend of mine is trying to make
But I
a
would
case
say the
Mookie
best.
Betts might move into the top 25 if he wins a World Series this year.
Top 25.
25?
That's hard.
That's
That's
baseball's
difficult,
been
man.
around for a
Baseball
million
different.
years, man. That's the hard one.
Yeah. Top 25? Nah, that's no. And that's your include unless you mean top 25 hitters without pitchers counting. And even that's still a stretch.
What position is he playing this year?
He's right field this year, I believe. He's
He
been right field for
he might be top 25 greatest ever right fielders, but yo, baseball been around for a million years. It's these newer generation stars got a long way to go before they get to jump into that category. Unfortunately,
what about Mike Trout?
I'm about to say, do you think Mookie Betts is better than Mike Trout?
He's a better winner, but not a better player.
He's not a better player than Mike. Yeah, he's a better winner. Yeah, he's won. Definitely. That's not even a debate. But Mike Trout is, and I don't think Mike Trout is 25. Not yet. I mean, Mike Trout is one of the dopest players we ever seen, but
if he wouldn't have wasted his career with the Angels, if Trout would have played for a couple of real contenders, he would be top 25, 30-ish.
Yeah, because he'd have winning under his belt. So yeah, I'll give you that. And that's the difference between him and Betts, but Trout is still the better player than Betts to me. Even though Betts is awesome, but Trout can do everything Betts can do. Honestly. Except for, probably play the infield. I don't know if Trout is an infielder at all. But as far as hitting and fielding in the outfield,
he doesn't have the body type of an infielder. He's too big.
Yeah, he's not an infielder at all. Probably first baseman or third, maybe.
He's definitely a corner. He's too. No, not third. He's athletic, but I don't know if he can get small up. I don't know if he can get small up to be a third baseman.
He'd be a hell of a target over at first, but not at third.
Yeah, first definitely. I'm just saying third because the man, well, he had a lot of injuries with his lower extremities too, so maybe not third. So y'all have
you could be an athlete. You could be a world-class athlete and not make a good infielder. That's how hard infield is because you have to get real small.
No, I'm not doubting that.
You have to contort your body in a way that it's just,
Yo, real quick. How do y'all feel about, I ain't gonna front, El Mago playing center field? Javier Baez, if y'all know, he plays center field now. Shortstop turned center fielder. And he just stole a home. Oh my gosh. El Mago is a baseball player. Except for he decides to play when he feels like it. But if y'all seen it, El Mago, Javier Baez playing center field.
One of my favorite players in all of baseball. He's a physical monstrosity whenever he's hitting. I just don't know how focused he is game by game, and that's just my opinion. I think he's a guy who you have to force him to be focused, and that's kind of hard to do sometimes. That's just my opinion.
With Javi Baez?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Javi Baez is fucking awesome. And then it's like, you gotta when he played with us for that little half a season, and I thought we would sign him. I think that he got along with Lindor, so I believe that we should have signed him and probably throw McNeil at third base. And,
but the rumor back then was that he brought out the immaturity in Lindor.
He did bring out the thumbs down shit and all
Yeah.
of that.
Yep,
He
yep.
did, yeah. You know what, Frank? I'm glad you're
Francisco.
here, bro.
Hmm.
But I'm just thinking about, the magic that would have been with them at
I mean,
short and
he's a
simple.
little older now and has settled down. The reason we got to recognize because Lindor started early as opposed to 2 months late like he normally does.
Yeah, he
And,
started early.
but I think now, but it took 2, 3 years. Would we have, not we, because I'm not in management, but would management have tolerated him for 2, 3 more years? They would have been blaming Lindor's slow starts on him. So I don't know if he would have worked out here, to be honest.
I like how you put that like that. Yeah, but I think like, all right, I don't want to sound weird or like, but with a Hispanic coach and them having that Hispanic connection, I think maybe because he would have been a rookie, but maybe Mendoza calms them down. Maybe to look at the bigger picture.
Maybe.
I'm just maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe. But I
From
did like that's another guy like I keep defending Michael Bridges, Javi Baez, El Mago. He was like he's one of those guys I actually like. I really liked him. I really thought he was talented. I thought he was good for us because he was a powerful guy. He was speed guy. Sometimes his what do you call it? His pitch selection is bad in terms of what he swings at. But defensively, he was awesome. He could hit the home run. He could hit the double. He could do whatever you want offensively. He could steal a base. It's just, I guess concentration and focus. And maybe Mendoza could, like we said, maybe. It's 50-50. Either he could have got him or he couldn't have. But I still wouldn't have
when he
minded.
was right, when he was younger, it was a maturity thing. Now that he's older, it's a concentration thing. At some
Right.
point, the things got to go away for
Yeah,
people
you're
to
right.
see you as a complete player.
No, you absolutely right, bro. You're right. Like you got to bring it together eventually. Like, come on, bro. Like you're grown now. But shit, y'all got anything else to say about baseball? BT, you got any team that you like that you looking at? Frank, I know where we at already. We Mets guys, so BT, you
Well,
got anybody you looking at? Or so you got anything you wanna-
I'm a Astros fan because that's the closest team in my proximity. I'm also a
I
Giants
I
fan. My dad
fucking
was
but
state.
I was about to say, you got anything about Houston? I knew you was gonna say Houston.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
you know, that's the close.
let me beat the garbage can over here. Hold on.
Yeah, Houston's the bad boys of baseball. 'Cause when they was on top, they especially made life miserable for New York because you know
Yeah, they did.
a lot of time y'all New Yorkers think baseball is y'all birthright, which it probably is. Probably is. But you know, right now the team's having an up and down season, mainly because we can't strike nobody out, and we can't strike nobody out. And on top of that, that power that made us the scariest team in all of baseball, that 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 what's the best way I could put it? That thing that made us the best team in baseball just ain't there right now. And I think San Francisco is playing a lot of good small ball, but I don't know if they can hold a candle to that juggernaut that's just down the road to Southern California.
I think the Dodgers is going to be the reason the next bargaining agreement is going to have some stuff in there because the only reason they can afford that lineup, you know how many of those players got deferred payments?
Yeah, because Shohei got the biggest deferred pay. You better hope they never sell that team.
Betts is going to be getting paid for another 10 years after he's done playing. Shohani's what? He'll be dead and still collecting a check. At some point, they're going to have to do something about that because that's completely. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you can find a good player who's willing to sign that kind of contract, Burma, the first thing Soto said is, I don't want no deferred payments. I want my money up front.
Right,
Right.
because if you switch owners, now that owner might not want to fucking pay, or it might be an issue with the new owner. Like it's like, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, give me my money. Shohei is only making $2 million a year.
Which
They
is
want to win a
Everybody
criminal.
champ.
trying to
They
buy
want to win a
Boney a deal.
championship.
He's $1 billion player, but he's only on the books for $10. That's criminal.
That is that is criminal as oh boy. But it's
Shit.
like whatever. Okay,
That's like having
whatever.
Calvin Johnson. That's like having Calvin Johnson or Tom Brady for only $1 million a year. That's crazy.
Yeah, for $3 million a year, you got Calvin Johnson and Tom Brady.
But I'm gonna say
But
that
it's like I ain't
these
gonna
dudes want to
front,
win
man.
championships.
I ain't gonna front. I ain't gonna. Yo, you're right. But I ain't gonna front, Joe. It's like I don't care because that makes if you could beat them, it makes the victory even better. But then after a while, because if this team stays assembled, there's not much people are gonna be able to do anything against the Dodgers, man. They're like I said, they're the fucking Boston Celtics of the West Coast in a different sport.
And they're all in their prime, which makes it even harder.
Yes. Yes.
You know what my dad called LA? The MF and Death Star. The bitch can zap.
Yes.
The bitch can zap you from outer space if they don't. They can zap your ass from outer space.
Yo,
Yo,
that's a fact though. They
They
are
can
the
zap
Death
your.
Star.
They're the damn Death Star. We went to watch them. Them bitches played against Houston last year, and my dad said that's like watching the damn Harlem Globetrotters play baseball.
pretty much.
God damn it!
Yeah. No, that's a fact.
I've never seen
And
anything like this before. I'm 29. I watched the '09 Yankees. I watched the '04. I watched the '04
Red
Boston
Sox.
team, the Red Sox. I watched the '04 Red Sox team. Those are the two greatest teams of my era. I watched 2011
Oh,
San Francisco.
I was about to
They
say
can't hold it down.
I was about to say, yo, whoa, the '86 Mets, but all right, yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay,
No, I
you're
wasn't
younger.
old.
All right,
Nah,
all right, all right,
I
all
was
right.
born in '95. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
The greatest team of my era was '09 New York. That was the most complete and the most, or maybe the Kansas City Royals team because they did win 100-something games. But no, none of them. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. That is the Harlem Globetrotters playing baseball.
The Dodgers, yeah. The man speaking of the Dodgers. And that Dodger team. I said it last year, man. Like, and I'm keeping it 100. The only reason I'm on the Dodgers like this because if I was not a fucking New York Mets fan, I've said this on previous shows, I would have been a Los Angeles Dodgers fan. I would not have been a Yankee fan. No, I would have been a Dodgers fan when they had Oral Hershiser and Pedro Guerrero, Fernando Valenzuela, Kirk Gibson, Steve Sachs, and they had those guys. I would have been a Dodgers fan, straight up. So to watch the Dodgers have the best farm system like ever because they just consistently and constantly come out with guys. You got your Mike Piot, like think about it, Earl Hershiser. You got your Valenzuela. You got your like we're gonna go forward now. What's my guy's name? Shit, Piazza. They won like rookie of the year. They had guys that were winning rookie of the year every fucking year. Every year. Cody Bellinger. What's the other left-handed guy that he's on the Cubs now? Like they would just come. Did you what's my picture?
Oh,
My guy.
I forget that dude's name.
Like,
He do play. Yeah, man.
you got Clayton Kershaw, Jock Peterson. Like you got all
Ja.
these guys, bro.
A damn all-star.
Like all these guys, bro. The Dodgers. I thought the Braves farm system was awesome, and it is. I'm not gonna sit here and act like. And now that I'm living in Georgia, the Braves farm system has always been one of the top farm systems ever. But the Dodgers, bro, they just pump out fucking rookie of the year after rookie of the year after rookie of the year, or championship after championship, and they be throwing young guys in there.
Freddie Freeman, one of the greatest hitters of all time, and one of the veterans of our sport, is their first baseman.
Like, come on. When they got Freddie Freeman, I was like, this shit is not fair anymore.
Yeah, and at second base, two of the most talented people in the sport, Tommy Edman and Enrique Hernandez, two of the very best at that position. Miguel Rojas, guys like that. They're platooning second base.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't even make any sense. And bruh, shortstop, bruh, anytime, bro, they can
You can throw Mookie Betts at shortstop.
They can put Mookie Betts at 5 or they could put him at 9. This is not what we're seeing right now. Is
You
what
mean
we're
six,
seeing
six,
right now
six,
is
six,
the
not 5'6". 5 is third base.
excuse me,
6 is
yeah,
shortstop.
6 is shortstop. Excuse me.
It's
You
all
know what
good.
I'm. Yeah, what I'm
I know what
saying
you mean,
is,
but for the people, for the people.
yeah, they could put Mookie Betts at 6, and like I said, he's your right fielder. But but here's the thing, though, bro. At right field, you got Teoscar Hernandez, who batted 300 last month. What are we talking about? This is the most talented team I've ever seen in my life.
You know
This
who?
it's the
You know
Dodgers,
what?
bro.
You know who's more talented than the on-field team? Their financial advisors and their financial team, because
Yeah.
no one else seems to make it work under the rules, and they're here bending the rules. They're not breaking them, but they're bending them damn near all the way,
Uh-huh.
and they're winning with it. Like if I was one of their financial guys, I just want 10% of the total year's salary if we make it into the playoffs. That's all I want.
Yeah. Just give me a little piece. Just let me wet my beak. And just because this is a New York based show right now, the Yankees are 19 and 15, just so I can mention them, and I won't sound like a liar. The Yankees are 19 and 15. They just lost tonight to the Devil Rays, who are 16 and 18, 7-5. So the Yankees are kind of, I thought they would be better than because them signing my guy. Damn it, shit. The right fielder. I'm guessing he's a right fielder now. Bellinger. Them signing Cody Bellinger. I would have rather had Cody Bellinger than putting all that money to Juan Soto. And to say this now, Juan Soto's going to get better than what he is now. He's going to kill. He's going to kill. So don't be worried. Don't be scared. Juan Soto is starting to turn it on. Excuse me, turn it on now.
What is Shoei whenever he's not DHing? Is he a what is Shoei? He's a first baseman.
No, he's a pitcher.
He's straight on the bench when he's not
Yeah,
batting.
so all he's one whenever. Wow, bro.
But you could throw him in
Jesus
the
Christ.
outfield. I believe you could throw Shohei Ohtani in the outfield. I
They
believe he'd
won't.
be a great outfielder.
They won't. They're willing to let him sit a year out of pitching. He can come back as their number one next year. They're not gonna risk him getting hurt out there
No,
shagging
he's
flies
pitching now.
just
He
to
should
have
be
fun.
pitching now. He should be pitching now. Last year he sat out the whole year. This year he should be pitching again. Or he's still not pitching.
Nah, he's not pitching yet.
Mm. And that's because they're doing well. So there's no need to rush him back off of, what was it, Tommy John?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no need to rush him back off of Tommy John. So you can have him come back in June, July if you want to, since Yamamoto and everybody else, the whole staff is fucking awesome. You can just have him wait. But as far as the Yankees go, before we switch over to football, Yankees are in first place, 2 games over Boston. Then you got Toronto, 3 games back, tied with the Devil Rays, also 3 games back. And the Orioles are in last place at 13 and 20, 5.5 games back.
Oh Jesus, the poor boys in Baltimore. You ever been in that, not to change subject? You ever been in that stadium before?
Did I ever been what?
You ever been to Baltimore Stadium before?
No, I've been to Baltimore, but not the no.
Yeah, well, I was getting tickets for free. I was a veteran. I worked out there. I worked out there in the DMV, and I went to a few games. And I can tell you, man, they need a hero. They have good fans.
Yeah.
They want the team to be successful, but
They're small market, bro.
small market, and
That's what's
the net
killing them. They gotta spend money.
because I didn't realize how the Nationals, man, I didn't realize DC people love baseball so much. They love baseball in DC, man.
Bro, when you small market, you can't do the things that the New York teams, the LA teams, the Texas teams,
But
you can't do the
that
shit that look at the Marlins, bro. They are horrible. They
but
spend no money.
that's why I think the next bargaining agreement is gonna have to address this Dodgers situation. Because technically the Dodgers can't afford another $1 million player. But if they
At
offer
all. They
you
can't afford a $500,000 player.
but if they offering you 500,000 now, but we will give you 3 million over the next 5 years after the fact, how is a small market team supposed to compete with that?
Right. They Bobby Bonilla and everybody, bro. Everybody's getting a Bobby Bonilla. And that shit
So
is bad for baseball. But I'm not one to complain because, and to keep it 100, we're a big fucking market. So it's like we could spend the fucking money. So it's like, yeah, y'all doing whatever y'all could do, but we can too. So that's why I don't complain. But to be for real, that is horrible for teams like the Orioles, the teams like
yeah,
Seattle, the small mark, the teams like the Marlins. That is horrible. That is effed up. That's straight up effed up for the small market ball clubs.
It is, man. And the only way, because you look at sports like football and basketball, the only way to succeed as a small market team, you got to have an excellent coach, and you have to have at least one transcendent player. You got to have at
Yeah.
least one transcendent player
you
because
gotta
I
it's
have
think it's
hard.
more than one. You
you
gotta
gotta
have a
have a
good pitcher.
scouting team. You gotta have a scouting
Yes,
team because
sir.
you gotta
Us.
find these players somewhere.
Yeah. Got
You got to have
to.
one transcendent skipper. Your skipper's got to be transcended, but that's hard, man. Because like I said, I've been to a Baltimore game. That place, it's not the vibe, man. No offense to Baltimore at all. Shout out to B more, but that place is not the vibe at all as far as baseball goes. DC is the vibe as far as baseball, in my opinion.
See, Washington, you know what Washington does? They sit there year after year and they build up these great players just to trade them away later because they're a small market.
Yeah, them too, because they're bigger than Baltimore, but they're still considered small market.
Yeah, and Baltimore's a small market too. Like the last guy, Adam Jones,
Hmm.
Manny Machado. I'm surprised they had them two at the same time together.
Hmm.
And you see, both of them were gone after a while. Like
Yeah, man.
you don't sign, you don't get to sign two contracts in Baltimore because they got somebody else young and they want to sign him, and you got to go unless you're willing to take less money for the love. Ain't nobody taking less money for the love of anything.
Here, hold on, let me plug my phone in.
Yeah, do your thing. Wife, I can't.
So we ready to discuss the Jets yet? So we can segue into this Shador nonsense.
If y'all want to, I mean, shit, I've already spoken my piece on the Shador thing. The Jets are an interesting piece because I think y'all finally got y'all quarterback and y'all coach. But I mean, the Shador thing, I think it's played out. I think the narratives being spun is done so in bad faith. But hey, if y'all want to, I don't mind giving my 2 cents. But I'm coming more from a football perspective than I am a social perspective. If that makes sense.
Well, that's the argument I've been getting. Like I'm making enemies left and right these last 2 weeks. I actually saw him play, and I remember
Right.
saying he's nothing more than a third round talent at best.
Thank you.
And to keep arguing that he was blackballed from the first round and they're trying to prove a point because he's flashy, one, you diminish Cam Ward as the number one. You diminish Hunter as the number two. And more importantly, to say he got blackballed because he's outspoken, he's this, he's that, that flies in the face of the fact that his father came in with the most outlandish suits, the crazy chains, telling teams, I'm not gonna try out for you, I'm not gonna come to your interview because I won't be on the board that long, and got drafted for it. His father
Well,
proves if you got the talent, the baggage you bring does not matter.
yes, sir. Thank God, at least you see it. First of all, sir, I just want to tell you thank you for being logical. Thank you for being mature. And most importantly, thank you for using anecdotal evidence that supports what you're saying. Let me start by saying this:
Yeah.
respect to the Sanders family. Because at the end of the day, man, I love football. They love football. We all love football. So, hey, man, peace and blessings to them. But here's the thing, man.
Desi
You
Des,
don't
what up?
get you don't get blown out by the BYU Cougars and you don't get manhandled by the University of Kansas and tell me you're a first round pick. It doesn't work that way. You went 12-13 as an FBS starter against ranked teams and the worst division in the worst conference in Power 4. First and foremost, let me say
Pac-12.
this. That too. Two bad conferences. First of all, let me say this. Lots of good quarterbacks come from bad conferences, but here's the thing, man. In hindsight, the scouts didn't look at the personality, they looked at the on-field production. And here's the thing, man. When I look at Shedeur Sanders' stats in that conference, I see Graham Harrell, I see Cole Brennan, I see Cliff Kingsbury, I see Rakeem Cato, I see Geno Smith, I see anybody who's a stat pattern who just so happened to be playing around a bunch of scrubs.
I kept comparing him to Geno Smith, and the
Yeah.
masses were getting pissed off.
What's wrong with that? Geno Smith was
How
a
about that? Geno's good
top
now.
10 passer in college.
Because
West Virginia,
somehow,
right?
what happened?
Geno Smith was West Virginia, right?
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
he threw for 5,000. We played against him, and he was a good quarterback. He was a 5,000-yard passer. What's wrong with Geno Smith?
I don't know
But
where
Geno
the
Smith
narrative
took
that
years.
Shador was a generational talent and a first round pick started. But first of all, I think a lot of the anger is being driven by casual fans, not real fans.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because again, I actually saw him. Because remember, once his father took over the program, they were on TV every Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I
So,
seen him too.
and one of the
I
first,
like him.
even back then, before the talk about him being a first rounder started, I remember making a joke one time. I was at one of the local spots that I go to drink, and I said, I've never seen a college quarterback throw so many 5 yard passes. Like, even back then, I was like, he doesn't have an NFL arm. He threw for 14,000 yards. Yeah, like 13,000 of that was after the catch. What are you talking about? But
Man,
somehow the
he's
narrative became that he's a generational talent, and I believe not. I mean, I
I
hope he's
mean,
successful. I hope he's successful.
me too. But okay, do y'all
Too.
remember the Mike Leach quarterbacks? Graham Harrell, Cliff Kingsbury.
I
Why don't
remember Cliff Kingsbury.
why do you think they failed in the NFL? They didn't. They did the same thing. Shador. They threw for 20,000 yards in their career because they all threw the same 5 and out patterns. They all hit those same curl patterns, curl flats. Man, let's
So
just be
y'all saying the
honest.
wide receivers made them who they are?
The
Hunter,
competition, the
Hunter,
competition made him who
Hunter earned that 2 pick,
he did.
getting him all them yards. And Hunter was the running back, and they were still using him. There was a stat. Oh man, matter of fact, I'll tag you in it after we get off.
Bet.
Do the breakdown. This last year, 37% of Shador's passes started at the line of scrimmage or behind. So
What sense does that make? Oh my
who was
God.
getting him all the yardage?
That's a lot. Yeah.
The receivers
And
were.
Yeah,
yeah,
the receivers were.
and their receivers played above their outside of Travis. Their receivers played above what I believe what their talent level was. A lot his receivers were both kind of undersized, and they also
Yeah.
were guys who had to really fight to make it. What I'm saying is respect to their playing, because like I said, they ran that offense because, sir, check it out. They're small. They're not
Yeah.
big enough. Outside of
They are
Travis,
small.
they're not big or strong enough to go up top. Football is like basketball. You're not gonna be able to body nobody in no paint if you're not 6'5", 200 something pounds. You're not strong enough, and gravity exists. So you're gonna have to do screen plays, button hooks, you know, F curl stuff like that. You know, fast break offense, right? Because you're not big. You can't truck nobody. You're not physically strong enough to impose your will, which is awesome. That's dope. If you sit here and tell me Shedeur Sanders is a first round pick, that means you think that guys like Graham Harrell should have been first round picks, and they're not.
All right. Let me play devil's advocate because I have to just for the show's sake. You got Shedeur Sanders, and like Frank mentioned, 37% of his passes were for either I'm just gonna say 5 yards or less to just, make it easier to, his passes were 5 yards or less 37% of the time. But Shedeur Sanders had a shitty offensive line. He didn't really have a run game behind him to keep pressure off of him to help the line. And he like I said, I'm playing devil's advocate. He passed for 72 percent. Excuse me. He completed 72% of his passes. Now 37% of 100% of his passes were short, don't you think the rest of his passes were, at least, decent enough to where
So
not a first round pick, but definitely not a fifth round pick?
I'm gonna shoot that down right now. At
Okay.
Jackson State, he was like 14-3
yeah,
because he was the best athlete on the field. Soon as he stepped up into a conference that played the better teams, he was a 500 quarterback. The NFL is a collection of the best players on every team. Even the dudes who will never get on the field were the best players on those teams at some point. In stepping up, your game went backwards. How does anyone argue that he's a first rounder?
and I'll also include I went to Southern. That's Jackson State's rival. I watched Shador Sanders. They played in the HBCU National Championship, and like I said before, who like Sir said, you can tell these are casuals. I watched him play against MEAC. The MEAC is right now the most dominant HBCU conference. Just to step up in that division, 0-2 in championship games. Only through three, he went through four touchdowns, 6 picks in those games, right? Just when the talent got a little better, the competition dropped. He gets to FBS, like Sir said again. Okay, you mentioned the offensive line. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Most college offensive lines suck. Most college offensive lines are
Nah,
very
brother,
most college
BT, you
offensive line.
can't say that,
Most
bro.
college offense.
What?
No,
Yes,
I'm an
yes,
Nah.
LSU.
that's a fact. That's
I'm
a
an
fact.
LSU fan. I'm an LSU fan. I had a first round pick of my O line. Most college offensive lines are great pass blocking, which that's more of a
Okay,
indictment
okay,
on
okay.
most
Okay.
college off. No. I'm just being real. People, I've had
No,
to
no, no,
on
no. When you broke it down to pass block, now to say they suck, it's like, nah, bro.
most
But to
college
say, hey,
offensive
they're not
lines
as
don't
good
pass.
as pass
Most
blocking, I
college.
can understand
There's
that.
only five. There's only five great offensive lines in college football every year, and those teams are going to win a national championship. Let's just keep it all the way a stat. Shout out to Jim Jones. Let's keep it a stat. All right. So I'm a Jim Jones fan. I quote him a lot. So what I'm saying
There's no
is
problem.
I don't want to poke holes in Shador. It's just that these people are being very. First of all, like the gentleman said, they're making enemies with people in bad faith because they really don't know football like that, and they're setting themselves up for disappointment. And then number two, Shador ain't the first person with great stats to go late in the draft. Just in this draft, the guy who won the national championship for Ohio State, 6th round pick. Dylan
Yeah,
Gabriel is
Will
the
Howard.
all-time. Dylan Gabriel is the all-time leading
That's my
passer in
school,
college
Ohio
football.
State. That's my school. I ain't gonna front Ohio State. That is my school. I did not see
So
our quarterback as, you know, going that far, go that high. I didn't see him better than Shador Sanders
and maybe
because
he's
Ohio
not.
State is great for wide receivers and cornerbacks. So
And
I
linemen.
know,
All right,
yeah,
so
that too.
so here's the
Orlando,
thing.
South Orlando Pace.
So when you're a third round talent at best, and I'm being generous because again I saw him play. Now you come into some of these team meetings. First off, you come in wearing your own brand clothing, which you just started right before the draft, legendary. Per per the rumors, most teams are saying he didn't even bother looking at the playbooks that were sent. He was more concerned with what are you gonna do to change the culture around here to make it a winning team. What am I gonna do? I'm trying to draft a quarterback. What are you gonna do to prove to me we changing the culture? When you're a third round pick, the interview process now is your way in. You don't come in as a third round pick talking about I'm here to change the culture. No, you got to get in before you can make any changes. And if he was as obnoxious as they are making a scene, that would explain why he dropped to the fourth. And at the fourth,
Yes.
that would explain why he dropped to the fifth. Because at some point, this is a point I made to somebody else because they were comparing the two picks Cleveland took. They're like, it doesn't matter that they took both of them. How do you take one above the other? So I said this. All right, we walking down the street. You see two girls. One's a definite eight. Can't cook, can't clean. She thinks she's the prize. She wants you to treat her like a queen, and you should be lucky to have her. The other one's a six, maybe a seven. knows how to cook, knows how to clean, knows she's a part of the team, and she knows she's there to help you get through every day and help you advance. Who you dating?
You're right. I want the one to help me advance.
Yeah, and also to that point, let's just be honest. Dylan Gabriel has a better sample size as far as a career than Shador Sanders does. He's played it.
Yes.
He's played on three different. He's played. He's 3-2. He's 4-2 in bowl games. Was it 3-2 in bowl games? He's led several. He led UCF to an 11-1 season, Oklahoma to an 11-2 season, Oregon to an undefeated season. Shador Sanders went 12. I understand people don't want me to bring that up, but if we in court right now, bro, that's evidence, right? I'm bringing it
Yeah.
to the. I'm bringing it. Hey, man, I'm just saying. You
Bring
went
it to the
12.
table, bro.
Bring it to the fucking table, baby. I'm just saying. That's 12-13 against the shitty conferences you played in. Dylan Gabriel led Oregon, a very talented team at that, I understand, to a 13-0 record. He was dominant where he was at. Now, does he have more projectables, as we say in baseball, than Shador? Only time will tell. They'll have a chance to show it off. I think Shador is a bit bigger, a little stronger, maybe, potentially, but Dylan Gabriel can ball. Dylan Gabriel was a 5-star, if you remember, coming out of Hawaii. He was a 4-star. Shador was a 2-star. So if we compare in pedigree, Dylan Gabriel has a better history than Shador does. So we can put that on the table.
Gabriel's got a winning history consistently
Yeah,
in what
man.
compared to Shador's history is an upgrade in competition. Shador upgraded and his magnificent run came to an end. It had he stayed at Jackson State had been 30-2, then the casuals can have an argument. But if you
Yeah.
saw and you've seen him play and you saw his production drop off when the competition got better, and it's not even top tier better, mid level better, you can't argue he's a top tier quarterback. I mean, that's is ridiculous.
And remember, he lost. He got blown out in both HBCU national championship games. He was the reason both. He was the reason his team lost both games. Now that's not me throwing rocks at him, but we're all grown men here. We got to be
I
honest.
mean,
They
stats are
they
stats,
got
bro. You can't fake the numbers. Like if you
no man.
lost,
They
you
went
lost.
0-2, and the only two national title games he played in. And I'll be the first person to tell you, NEAC schools. That's the East Coast. Those North Carolina, South Carolina schools. They played nasty, mean defense. Those are very talented teams, and they made Deion Sanders. They made Shador Sanders and company look bad. So let's just keep it funky fresh.
Yep. And you know what? And to the point I made about his father completely blowing out the argument that because Shador is showy and flashy, they were trying to prove a point. His dad got picked fourth with worse personality traits. What,
Yeah.
what
Hallelujah,
at a
yes.
time when the NFL was way more racist and way more conservative than it is today.
Yes, sir.
Case in point, talent wins. And I'll give you another one. Last year, a certain quarterback came out. His own teammates didn't like him. Even his college record was kind of iffy because he was losing against the better teams. Had the nerve to come out saying, "I want ownership in whatever team drafts me." Until the agents came out and said, "That's just his dad. That's not what we really want." Did Chicago take him in the first round? Yes or no?
First over fucking all.
So because he had talent, they overlooked the obnoxiousness. They overlooked every red flag he had because they think he's got the talent.
You can
So
say that about Cam Newton.
Tomorrow,
They did the same shit. He was cocky. He was a brash kid, and he still went number one because I get what you're saying. I just think Shador, to me personally, I don't think he should have went fifth round though.
see, but
I
again,
I
don't
think
know.
that was just
I
like
don't know.
some of that was punishment.
I saw him. See, but the punishment stuff is disproven by the quarterbacks we've all just mentioned, by his own dad.
No, that's why I get what you're saying.
More
I get,
importantly,
I understand.
I couldn't beat Cam Ward because if I get on the field against you, I'm gonna show him up now because you are stealing the spotlight. I'm the number one black quarterback taken, but you've turned this into a racial issue when you're not the quarterback everybody thinks you are. I couldn't be Hunter. I'd be like, oh, excuse yo, bro, I'm responsible for 80% of your yardage. Shut up. I think as a whole, this is how you cure this nonsense with the college quarterbacks, especially. I think they need to start paying attention to yardage thrown, period. If you threw a 5-yard pass, I don't want to hear that you threw an 80-yard touchdown. Start giving credit where credit is due. The receiver, like I get it, you threw it, he caught it in stride, and you placed it perfectly. It was all right. So you're half responsible for that 80 yards. But if it was a 5-yard dump and your receiver had to stiff arm a couple of dudes, break a couple of tackles, and then get the rest of that 75 yards, you as the quarterback should get no credit for that. None.
That's like a run. It's like a run play almost.
So at some point, and then when you take into account, and I will tag you in the article later on, with 30%, I mean more than 30, but let's just go 30. 30% of his passes were at the line of scrimmage or beyond or slightly before. That's your team that got you to guard all that yardage. So I don't want to hear that you threw for 1,000,000 yards. And then, not to mention, I'm not racist, I'm not conservative, and I could care less. But you show up to my house wearing that Garris chain and all that, and I know the second quarterback behind you is not so far behind that you're that much better. I might not take you. And I'm a nobody. I'm not a GM for real. I'm just a fan, and I had him 3rd round. And notice I keep saying at best. At best is literally the qualifier. 3rd round at best. I'm not surprised he would have went 4th. 5th ain't killing me.
Now I think
and the quote yellow tape. My bad,
brother.
Jack. Go ahead.
Good. No. It's fine. It's fine, guys. You a guest, brother. Yeah.
No, the quote yellow tape. Let me tell you something, sir. Respect to you. NFL draft evaluation has evolved in the last 25 years since people passed over Tom Brady, passed over Drew Brees, passed over Kurt Warner. NFL talent evaluation has changed a lot. What you're saying has validity to it. The media portrayed, as Sir said before, the media portrayed Shedeur Sanders as being a 1st-round pick because the media wants you to think if he drops any lower. But like the gentleman said before, on field, you can see this quarterback is not. I'm not saying, look, no one is saying he's not talented. This quarterback does not change a game for you in a way that make him a top 25 pick in the NFL draft. He just doesn't. And what I'm saying is this: if talent evaluation had him drop him to the 5th round in this modern era in 2025, when talent evaluation for players is so precise, and we know how good players are, trust me, he's probably a 5th round pick. No NFL franchise. I don't care if unless Shedeur Sanders KIAA somebody, unless he's out here selling butter. Shout out to Jim Jones again. Unless he out here doing something he ain't got no business doing, there's no way he wouldn't have. The Pittsburgh needs a quarterback, okay? And again, I'm gonna say it again. You got blown out by Brigham Young. You should not get blown out by Brigham Young. I don't care how bad your team is. So
I don't know.
He was drafted in the right round, man. You shouldn't get.
I think Brigham Young got better. If you mentioned Brigham Young has gotten better. They've been playing bowl games, but I'm not. I get what y'all saying.
John Smith, BYU should not be out here making you look bad.
And now let's talk intangibles here. And what I'm about to mention has nothing to do with the football field, but it has everything to do with that locker room. As a Jet fan, a few years back, we had a quarterback who had no talent, but the team laid down for him. They would do it. Chad Pennington. He had no arm.
I'm about to say, you got talent. I like Chad Pennington, bro. If it's one quarterback I like in the Jets, it was him.
But the team played hard for him. The team loved him.
I did too.
Mr. Sanders threw a birthday party for himself using his daddy's money, so you know it's gonna be top shelf liquor and all sorts of champagne.
I love Chad Pennington.
I love him. Not one of his teammates showed up to that party. That's a locker room concern right there.
For Shedeur, you talking about?
Yep.
That says a lot then. He's the captain of your team.
And no one shows up.
And nobody shows up. Says a lot.
So when you want to talk talent, the Jets had one. The team, they would die for Pennington.
Meanwhile, I like Chad Pennington. I did. I really fucking did.
So you're telling me Sanders is a better quarterback than him because you're saying he's 1st round and generational, but his own teammates won't follow him past the curtains of fun? Not even the battlefield, the curtain of fun. His own teammates won't follow him there.
That's a fucking that's a great fucking. Let me stop cursing on my own shit stuff. That's a great way to put it though. You ain't gonna follow me to have fun. How would you follow me to on the field or the field of battle? I definitely get that. And with Chad Pennington, shout out to Chad Pennington. I liked Chad Pennington. I really, 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 really like Chad Pennington. He did not have an arm, but he was a football player, and he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Yeah, Chad was an MVP candidate, and Chad was a Pro Bowler. And the yellow tapes point, no. Look, it's not what the gentleman was saying. That's an additive of on top of that. But the thing is, man, it's not so much the bravado, like we're trying to tell you. He might have wowed you with a few highlight plays, but holistically speaking, no, I didn't see what made him a first round pick. Because the thing is, bro, if you compare Shedeur Sanders to first round, is okay. So compare Shedeur Sanders to Jaden Daniels. I know I'm an LSU fan. Is Shedeur Sanders on the same planet as Jaden Daniels?
Hell no.
Exactly. Is he on the same planet as Caleb Williams? Hell,
Caleb is actually kind of all right. I ain't gonna sit here and lie.
Caleb is an arrogant young man, but Caleb Williams is a generational talent. He's just hard to deal with. He's also a bit of a locker room cancer.
Yeah.
He's just as arrogant. He's probably worse than Shedeur Sanders. But what we're trying to say is his college tape shows you a system quarterback, a glorified Texas Tech Hawaii quarterback. All we're saying is if you got drafted 5th round, prove you're not a 5th round pick. That's all I'm saying. And you got a hell of a quarterback because Deshaun Watson is back. He's injured thing. Let me tell you something. Deshaun Watson's going to be back and he's going to be 100%. The question is, can you beat out ex-Pro Bowler, hungry Deshaun Watson? Can you beat out Joe Flacco? Have a nice day.
That's a good fucking point.
I'm just saying, man. Look, man, shit.
And then his daddy's on record as saying, I want to coach him in the NFL. First of all, if you got a high first round pick, that means your team kind of sucks. That means your job is kind of on the line. Why would you bring him in there knowing his dad is going to be cozying up to the owner talking about I can coach him better than him? Like, everything that could have went wrong with him outside of talent went wrong for him. Because the talent would have made all that go away. He didn't have to, so now you got to start looking at everything else, and everything that can go wrong went wrong.
And here's the thing, maybe it does work out. I did see things I like about him. He is accurate. He is tough. I'm just telling you, he reminds me of guys that I've seen not make it because I look at his skill set. All I'm saying is he doesn't blow you off. A lot of the throws he made, screw it, man. When the competition got a little better, he didn't get any better. They lost to Nebraska, Kansas, BYU, and they got blown out. Tell somebody explain to me how that correlates to a first round pick. Go. Don't worry, I'll wait.
When I said, "Yo, we finally gonna talk about football so we can get to the Shedeur thing," and he said, "I'm tired of talking about it," I thought me and you were gonna be butting heads.
No, sir. No, sir. I'm like you.
Butting heads.
No,
that's
sir.
What I said. Okay.
No, I'm sick of this whack ass shit. I'm sick of these casuals who were fake pro black. I went to an HBCU. I'm from one of the blackest ass cities in America. I'm a black ass nigga from a black ass neighborhood. I went to an HBCU. Nobody was this hyped about HBCUs, and I went to one twice. Undergrad and grad school. Now everybody's pro black. Some of y'all won't speak to me in the damn mall when I see y'all. We went to high school together, and y'all pro black. I talk about HBCU football. Other black folks were telling me it's not Division I football. Oh, per se, houseway.
Yeah,
so no, this stuff's fake, man. This stuff fake as hell, man.
I really
ain't real football fans.
Because like people don't get it. Like Yo, it's to the point where I had somebody ask me, "Yo, you the one who said if it was you, you wouldn't have even taken him in the fifth round?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't even know football. Leave me alone." Like at this point, I refuse to have the conversation any further.
No, man,
Yo,
because
you know
like
what's
I said,
crazy?
man, I've watched football for 28 of my 29 years of living. I've seen Graham Harrell. I've seen Case Keenum. I've seen Cole Brennan. I've seen Raheem Cato. I've seen Geno Smith. I've seen Colt McCoy. I've seen Tim Tebow. These are all top 25 all time on the passing list. Where they are now on a couch like us watching the damn game. Want to know why? It didn't translate to the league. You had one idiot comparing Shador to Peyton and Eli Manning, two of the greatest college QBs and two future Hall of Famers. Screw what Eli did in the pros. Eli Manning was the best player in college football the year he came out. Shador can't hold a candlestick to him. That's like comparing Shador to Caleb Williams or like Jaden Daniels. Stop playing with me.
Hey, we got somebody who's defending. He putting out numbers.
Yeah, and they got blown the hell out. You know who else threw for 300 yards and got their asses blown out? Cole Brennan, Graham Harrell, Geno Smith. Geno Smith had 500 yards passing against LSU, 400 yards passing against LSU in 2011. They lost 55 to 21. What would he have rather had? The win or the yards? He threw 42 passes, right? Wonder why you threw 42 passes? They were getting blown the hell out. And that's not me coming at you, Yellow Tape. I'm just telling you how football works. Football is not a stats game. It's a dub game. Would you rather the dub or the stats? He cannot change the game for you. Don't say it's his team because guess what? This is the team that Deion built. If you build a team in the portal and it's still not good, that's on you.
Nah, they won.
No, that was last year. I'm talking about this year. This year, 2024. They got blown the hell out. Okay. No, that was last year when Nebraska was playing with 42 scholarship players. Half the Nebraska team quit. Matt Rule got a little better this year, just a little.
You said Matt Rule?
Matt Rule was the head coach of Nebraska, and
oh Lord, wait, who did he coach before he went to Nebraska? He was in the NFL. Was it Carolina?
He coached. Yeah, he coached. We coached Carolina. He also coached Baylor.
Okay. I knew he coached Carolina. I know that name.
They played Nebraska this year. He threw a pick six. All and the gentleman with the NYC hat is trying to say, we have seen this quarterback before. He's a black version of most quarterbacks we see don't make it. And unfortunately, y'all are casuals. A lot of y'all, not Yellow Tape, are gonna find out the hard way. It happens. The NFL is hard. Eli Manning was the best player in college football and was a just above average, very good quarterback. Look how much he struggled in the NFL. Eli Manning threw 40 touchdown passes in college. It was the SEC's all-time leading touchdown passes. He had his ups and downs in the NFL. That's how hard the NFL is. It's not a matter of being confident. Some people can make it, some people don't. And that's football. It's like basketball, man. Carl Anthony Towns is one of the greatest college basketball. Carl Anthony Towns is one of the greatest high school basketball players we will ever see again. Look how much he's struggling.
And don't get me wrong, I like Deion. I want him to make it because I want Deion on TV again. I like Deion. I want his son to make it.
That's harsh, bro.
Well, come on, man. Well, come on. He was not a first round talent. He was not a second round talent.
I agree with Yellow Tape. That fifth round, it don't sit right. Shador Sanders is more than a fifth round talent.
All right, so this is the other thing I'm gonna say, and I did have this conversation with somebody. The other thing about the college draft is, if you're the second best quarterback or the third best quarterback, they're trying to figure out how to get you to be a top 10 pick because you're the second best quarterback or third best quarterback. When a lot of times, if you look at the bigger picture and make it player for player, that second best quarterback might not even be the 40th best player coming out of college. But because of the position he plays, the fact that he has to be the second one, he gets to skip the line. And here with Sanders, he didn't skip the line. There has to be a reason.
Yo, y'all both making. See, I watched Shador Sanders play too. I ain't gonna front. I had to watch him because of all the hype. Like, yeah, Deion Sanders is, and then actually him proving that hey, he took Jackson State from nothing to something. The only person I know that ever went to Jackson State was Lindsey Hunter, who played for the Detroit Pistons, and I think he played for the Knicks too. But that's the only person I know that came from Jackson State to be a professional anything in terms of sports. But yeah, y'all both making some good points. And I'm not gonna lie, yeah, maybe I was wrong about him being a first or second round talent, but I don't think he deserved to drop to fifth.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah, time will
You know how
tell.
me and you get
That's
down.
why I'm not gonna. That's why I didn't cut none of y'all off. That's
No,
why I let y'all
you
talk.
my you know, if anybody respect, I respect. You know, time will tell. And guess what? If I'm wrong, I'll be the first person to log on to your show and say, but guess what? I've been watching football as long as I've been alive. I played football, and I can tell you like this: plenty of
Yeah.
quarterbacks who set all time records don't make it in. Mac Jones, the year after Joe Burrow won the Heisman, Mac Jones led the FBS in touchdown passes too. Is Mac Jones? I mean, come on, man. Mac Jones also
Yeah,
completed
he hasn't
76.
done anything.
Mac
Shit,
Jones
shit,
also
man.
completed 76% of his passes with one of the quote unquote greatest offenses of all time. Come on, man. I can bring up enough evidence. If this was court right now, I'd send somebody to prison right now. I'd witness
Yo,
a
Mac
case
went to
going away.
BYU, right?
Say it again, sir.
Did Mac go to BYU?
Mac Jones went to Alabama.
He
Mac
went to
Jones is the
what quarterback went
Mac
to
Jones.
BYU?
Taysom Hill, you talking about?
That was the last quarterback to get drafted from
Oh, it's been a
BYU?
while. It's been a while, man. They're not BYU's had. It's been a long time since they've had a quarterback get drafted, bro. No, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, because I knew it was somebody who came from
That's
BYU.
another one. That's 75% passer, bruh.
No,
All
I
I'm
mean, I
trying to
think
say.
Zach Wilson had deserved another chance, man, because I've sat there
Bruh,
one
so
show, bro, and I said, and I think that was the off season, not this one, but the last. Was it the last one or this one? I was sitting there like, yo, we should pick up Zach Wilson because he's only 24 or 25 years old. He's a young
well,
guy, and maybe the Jets just wasn't the spot for him. Because I mean,
he's
His game ain't for the NFL.
yeah, man.
Again, I'm a Jet fan. I saw all these games.
yeah, I know that. So I respect your take.
He,
I'll definitely.
he has some good numbers whenever they let him start in the shotgun, but the NFL ain't a shotgun league.
No,
No, it's
it's a
me.
one back, two tight end league, and that's the way it's always going to be for the rest of
He
our lives.
he was the slowest 3-step drop back quarterback I ever saw. Like
Okay.
by the time he took that third step, the plant, the turn around and throw, the whole defensive line was in his face. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he has the talent to be in the NFL at all.
And that's
Case in
okay.
point. Case in
Okay.
point. When you're the second, third, or fourth best quarterback in the league, this in the draft, they're so busy trying to draft you that you might not even be the 30th best player available. But because you're a quarterback and you were the second,
Yeah,
third best quarterback, you get to skip the line. Zach Wilson, perfect example.
I got you.
So
Because I thought,
yeah.
certain coaches could help quarterbacks. Certain quarterbacks could be coached into better players. But it just depends on like y'all saying, he wasn't this, that, and the third. But if let's just say he would have fell to a coach that knew how to or that kept to his strengths. You know what I
I
mean?
don't.
Like,
I mean, here's the thing, Jack. We have seen, and I don't know how, bruh, like the gentleman tried to say before, and I keep calling you gentlemen, I keep forgetting your name. Like he
Frank.
just said
sorry.
before, like Mr. Frank just said, we have seen him before. We've seen him before. Zach
Yeah.
Wilson, Graham Harrell. And I don't mean to keep going around in circles. We've seen Shador Sanders before. It's just these casuals, they don't know. We have seen
Right.
him before. Guys that
So,
were a little unrealistically good in college, and they get to the pros, and you see their game does not translate. It didn't
all right.
matter.
So you saying that Shador? I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm like, cause y'all are making some great points, and it's making me think. But I'm just playing devil's
Go ahead.
advocate. So basically, Shador is like Danny Werfel.
Great example. Hey man, that was a
Actually,
perfect example.
what's that dude's name who came out of college? Matt. What's his name? Was it Liner?
Matt Lyon is another
Leonard
good
from
one from
USC.
USC.
There we go.
I hated him.
He came out with the numbers, and
He
he's
did.
and he's lucky he retired a millionaire.
He lucky he had Rex Ryan as a goddamn coach in that damn defense, because otherwise y'all win 2 championships, 3 championships with Rex Ryan if y'all have Vinny Testaverde again. Now tell
Bro,
me I'm wrong.
a girl I was dating from Baton Rouge, Matt Liner said something about Angel Reese, and he had said something. A girl I was dating told Matt Liner, I swear I could send Jackie the tweet. I used to mess with this girl. She told Matt Liner on Twitter, "Shut up, bitch."
Wow, that's
I'm gonna
funny.
send I'm
That's
gonna
funny
send
because
Jackie the tweet. Yeah, I dated. Baton Rouge is the New York of the South. I don't know if y'all know that. Baton Rouge is the New York of the South. We have a very similar culture there. It's very people down here are not like we're the South. I'm from New Orleans originally, but I grew up in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is about as unfriendly as New York. Very unfriendly city.
all
So
right. So I'm
people
not.
down here can be kind of snippy.
All right. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that I call her Angel Sanders at this point. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, man. Matt Leinart was trying to go at Angel Reese or whatever, and I guess she took offense to it. She gonna get under his comment section and tell him, "Shut up, bitch." Everybody laughed. I
Oh,
said, "Yep." Unfortunately, I used to share a bed with that. Cool chick though. But anyways, man, like I said before, nothing against Shador. He'll have a chance to prove exactly how good he is against a QB room full of hungry veterans, especially one in Deshaun Watson, who will be healthy again. And I'll be the first person to tell you, Deshaun Watson wants to get back. He wants to be a Pro Bowler again. I don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to let Deion Sanders, flashy ass kid, beat him out for the starting position.
No, you right, because that man makes what 30, 40 something million a year. I don't even think that the organization wants Shador Sanders to take his job just yet. So it's definitely Deshaun Watson's team. Shador Sanders' job right now, and he should be happy he has one, is to sit there and watch. Just watch every game, because you're not going to play none unless it's like 40 to zip. So sit there and watch and just watch.
I think that
And the things that you see him doing wrong, don't do it.
I think the
Just watch.
NFL, I think the NFL has to go back to these quarterbacks. If not 2 years, at least one, standing on the sidelines with the clipboard, watching the coach call these plays and watching the defenses and the offenses play these plays out. The problem,
Right.
the problem today is the salary cap. You bring a college kid out
Yes, sir.
making an instant 18 million that first year, he's gonna start whether he's ready or not. The money dictates
Right.
he's gonna start.
Yeah,
And
it does.
and
Go ahead,
I
brother.
it needs to go back to some of these kids could do better if they had that 1 year professional experience learning as opposed to that 4 years of college playing.
And I thought that like shit, we even did that with Eli Manning for the most part. Which I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm gonna talk about my Giants real quick.
Yeah, let's talk
We got
about the
Eli
Giants and
Manning.
the Jets, please.
Yeah, we could definitely. So it's a New York base.
Yeah,
It's a New York base.
yeah.
So I'm only talking about
Just
the Giants. Talking about my draft. I'm just talking about when Eli Manning got drafted. He didn't come in right away, and I didn't appreciate the Giants, because I've always wanted to say this. I didn't appreciate the Giants shitting on Terry Collins for Kurt Warner, and Kurt Warner, for some reason, when he played with us, he was on his way out the door. But when he got signed by the Cardinals, he was reinvigorated. I didn't appreciate us getting rid of Terry Collins, because he just came off of like a great year. It's like Terry Collins is, he's our quarterback. Like, let's do this. And then they got rid of Terry Collins for Kurt Warner, and then Kurt Warner sucked, so you had to thrust Eli Manning into the game because Kurt Warner sucked so bad, but somehow reinvigorated or regenerated his career and became almost a Super Bowl champion again in Arizona. But Shador definitely has to sit and fucking watch. He has to watch, and just watch because the speed has changed. Everything has changed. Everything is faster. So if your offensive line was shitty then you got to pretend you got the same offensive line and get the damn ball out your hands until you're comfortable enough to realize, hey, my left guard or my left tackle, everything is all good, and I can maybe take a second or a third second to get that ball out. But I have faith in Shedeur Sanders. I don't feel he should have dropped all the way to the 5th round, 2nd round, 3rd round, maybe. But my
Yes, sir.
opinion had changed of him personally. It had changed of him. But you guys have made some certain points, and you guys are right. You guys are
Hey
right.
man, God bless him. Nobody wishes harm on him. It's just the fact
Oh,
that
of course not. Right.
this goes beyond race. The people bringing up race, a lot of these people are
Oh
very
yeah, I don't
small
care about
minded,
that
and they need to
shit.
stop it. They need to stop
Either
it. They
you
need to
can do
grow
it
the
or you
hell up.
can't.
You know, you need to grow the hell up. There's no reason why people older than me should be beefing with me about some race when they kiss their white boss's ass every day. But anyways,
You right.
Uh,
You are definitely right, bro. But as far as Shador, yes, I hope he does well too. And I'm looking forward to some good Cleveland football in the next few years, of course. So yeah, like matter of fact, now since you're here, we're gonna start with you, then Frank. I want you to go next. As far as the draft goes, bro, how do you feel about your team? How do you feel your team did?
on paper,
so
everybody thinks
go ahead.
they did B plus. Considering what we needed as a fan of the team, I think we was A plus with it. First off, we got what's his name, Mimdao, the offensive lineman. It's
Right,
about time we started addressing a line that has sucked for 15 years. About time. We got in a few free agents. We got this dude, and hopefully we can keep our quarterback on his feet now. So I'm all for that first round pick having been the again, not to bring Mr. Sanders up again, but who was the better pick for the Jets, him or this dude? But anyway, Mimdao, our first pick, I'm all for it. The offensive line needed to be addressed. I think we got one of the sleepers in the draft at tight end, Taylor from LSU. He is a complete tight end. He can run, he can catch, and he can block. Unlike the dude from what's Miami? What's his name? Was it Arroyo? Yeah, Arroyo. He's
right.
he's a wide receiver dressed up as a tight end at this point. So those two picks I'm all for. Addressed the offensive needs we needed. A real tight end and a real offensive tackle who can protect our quarterback from the blind side. Because we got Fields. Fields is of 10 to 15-yard passer, which means he needs to be on his feet a little bit longer to make sure he can get that pass in. So I think those two picks work out for him. And then considering there's some friction with Sauce, we picked up Thomas at a cornerback. I think our first three picks make this draft everything we needed it to be. Because if Sauce decides he wants to ask for a trade, or because a month ago he was in line to get he'd be one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the league, and within weeks the Jets picked up his 5th-year option. So what fell apart? The money, the year, the guarantee. Something ain't working where they now picked up his rookie contract as opposed to giving him a whole new one. So we picked up a cornerback. Worst case, we keep Sauce. We now would have 4 legitimate cornerbacks. After that,
And that's a good problem to have. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
no, it's good. And after that, I don't really care. We picked up a couple linebackers, a couple of edge rushers. Our line up front hasn't been bad in years. So I don't really care who they pick. Those 3 picks to me are the ones that matter.
Yeah, objectively, y'all had a great off season. Objectively, because the sign of Justin Fields is great. And like I said, I'm an Ohio State fan. I love Justin Fields, and subjectively, I hate that he went to y'all. But objectively, this Justin Fields now should prove that he's a fucking NFL quarterback, being with Aaron Glenn, because Aaron Glenn is a Jet. I know Aaron Glenn is a Jet just like you do. Aaron Glenn is a Jet. He bleeds green. He's a Jet. Like he's one of the, before y'all end up getting what's his name, Darrell Revis. Aaron Glenn was y'all guy.
Yeah, it was him.
Yeah, it was Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Glenn, I think at least as far as defensively, hopefully he's a defensive minded coach, being that he was a premier to me. And
Well,
I hate the Jets, but he was a great cornerback to me.
well, I think. See, the thing with Sauce last year, good looking kid, millionaire, New York. I think that's why he had them issues in his second year last year, because he was getting beat by receivers that had no business being on the field with him. He was getting turned around at the dumbest times. This, to me, that looked like a lack of concentration and a lack of being prepared. New York life, millionaire, good looking kid, it might also be a lack of sleep. I think this is
Right.
the coach to try to bring him back into, because that rookie year he was among the greats already. So I think
Yeah.
this is the right coach to bring him back. And on top of that, he's a coach who wasted his best defensive years again with what is always the Jets' problem, the offense. So I think he knows defense won't make into the fourth quarter if they are on the field every minute of the first three. So I think he's the. I'm hoping he's the right coach for this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I'll tell anybody I'm not a Jets fan, not by any stretch of the word. But as a football guy, I watch the Jets. I mean, I have to in order to be a football guy. I watched Aaron Glenn. Like I said, I think he bleeds green. I think he did great for the Lions the year before, and the previous years before he did well for the Lions. And I think Aaron Glenn is at least he wants to be there. I believe he really wants to be there, and that's what will separate you when you work, when you want to be at your job. And I think he wants to be the Jets coach. I don't think it's like a stepping stone. This is something he wants to do, and I think Jets should be able. If Justin Fields is the quarterback I want him to be, as an Ohio State fan, the Jets should win 11 games next year, 10, 11 games, and be
I got him at 10.
10. Okay, 10, 11 games next year. Because
I
Justin
got the Jets
Fields.
winning. I got the Jets winning 10 games and challenging Buffalo. I think defensively they're one of the best teams in the league. I think Aaron Glenn, who used to coach the Saints as well, he was a defensive back coach and he was the leader of our defense. The last year Breeze was here. I think the Jets have an underrated offensive line. I think as long as they can run the ball and stop the run, that's gonna give Justin Fields. It's gonna make it easy. It's gonna lighten his burden. As long as you can run the ball, Justin Fields will be just fine. Because you also got
And
Gary Wilson on the outside.
oh, Garrett Wilson, you just said Ohio State again, so you know how I feel about that. And
You
I
got my
believe
boy
he and
Mason
Justin
Taylor.
Fields played together for a year.
They absolutely did. And he threw one of the prettiest passes of all time to Gary Wilson, but also you got probably the most talented tight end in college football, and my boy Mason Taylor, 6'7",
Yeah.
250. And
Yes.
shout out to them Tigers. But I think as long as the Jets offensive line, which was much better than people give them credit for, I don't think people give that Jets O line enough credit. They aren't like
No, you know
that's
what
a
it
unit that
was?
got banged up.
What it is our blindside tackle, and it's been a different dude for like 5 straight years. Had been the weakling, and that's what we finally addressed in the draft. It's crazy how you can move any dude on the offensive line to play whatever position on the left, on the right, whatever, but you can't move these tackles around. Like they're so specific in what they need to do that if your tackle can't hold his position, the whole line falls apart, and that's where we've been weak 5-6 years in a row.
Right.
Also very underrated running back room with Brees Hall, Braylon Allen, Isaiah
Yes.
Davis.
Yo.
Maybe
Yeah,
the biggest size-wise running back room in the NFL, so they're gonna pound it a little bit.
Yo, let me say this. I'm gonna say this for Yellow Tape. That mofo has been a fan of Brees Hall. He's a Giants fan sometimes, but he's been a fan of Brees Hall since the beginning. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I started watching even closer at Brees Hall because Yellow Tape, believe it or not, as small as he may look, the man was a running back. So when he sat there and was like, "Yo, Brees Hall is better than what you're thinking, bro," not in these words, but we talking. I can't say how we talk, but Brees Hall is better than what you think. And I'm sitting there like, all right, yeah. I mean, I see he sometimes he do his thing, but to be 100, to be totally objective, Brees Hall can be a premier running back in this league, especially in the AFC East. If he's played the right way, the man can catch out the backfield. The man can run the ball. Brees Hall is a complete running back if you play him the right way and have the right protections, the right quarterback. And I think, and I hope, even though I hate the Jets,
Watch him
I
out.
hope, I hope that my guy is the one that brings y'all back to prosperity, because it'll be an Ohio State thing and not a Jets thing to me. Because I love Justin Fields, I love Justin Fields, and I think he deserved it. He got hit it on with an S, hit it on by the Bears. They sat there and made their offensive line better just to get rid of him. And he got sent to Pittsburgh where he got injured, hopefully, or supposedly got injured. So hopefully now the Jets, they use him, and the Jets can. That dude is, you can run with him and you can pass with him. He can be a bargain price Lamar Jackson. I said bargain price,
I don't
bargain
know, man.
price.
That's a that's a pretty good athlete, bro. I'm just saying, and like I said, okay. The receivers are good. Give him an O line. Give him an O line. Give him an O line. With that running back group, bruh, he was an accurate passer in college. Not that he was an elite passer, not just accurate. He was a dominant athlete in college. All I'm saying is Aaron
Ohio State's
Glenn
my
and
squad. I know.
Aaron Glenn and the Jersey Jets. I'm just kidding. The New York Jets. That might be a match made in heaven.
It should be. I mean, what's crazy though? I wish they would have still had, because he's better than Mark Sanchez to me. If they still had my guy Rex Ryan, I ain't gonna lie. I like Rex Ryan.
Rex
I like
wasn't a
the
bad coach, but
bravado.
Rex was a whole. Rex could coach some defense. I hated
Yeah,
Rex
he
Ryan in the
can't coach.
fourth quarter. I hated Rex Ryan
He
in the fourth
can't.
quarter.
But what Rex needed was a real quarterback. That's why I said if Vinny Testaverde was back there and
See,
against, instead of Mark Sanchez, a 35 to 36, 37-year old Vinny Testaverde was better than a 24-year-old Mark Sanchez.
the
And I'm
problem.
gonna
That's
ask
really
Frank, I'm
sad.
gonna ask Frank for his opinion on that one.
All right, first,
That's
the
really
problem with
sad.
Ryan was he let the inmates run the asylum. At some point, in the first 2 years, it was cool because he was trying to shove it down New England's throat. But at some point, you are the coach. You have to be, you got to dish out the discipline whether you like it or not. The first couple of years, he had Bart Scott helping him keep people in line. But after a while, he just, he started losing the team, not in a negative way, but in an undisciplined way. The mistakes
Okay.
that were getting made, like it, as a whole team, they look like they weren't preparing properly. Now, as far as quarterbacks go, Sanchez is always going to be known for the butt fumble. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But
Butt fumble and choking against Pittsburgh in the AFC
but
Championship game.
yeah, calm down, calm down. you know, for, for 2 years, he had Wayne Hunter supposedly, you know, keeping his blind side safe. Wayne Hunter was almost a Pro Bowler before we got him. And next thing you know, every time the play fell apart, it was Hunter. It was Hunter. And I think by the third year, Sanchez by the third year was not even trying to throw. He was running for his life. Like he was flinching on on, on every call. He was flinching before the defense got through the offensive line. Like He was a broken quarterback. There was no even when he left, there was no fixing him. He got used to running for his life, and there was nothing you can do. But I think Rex Ryan was good for the moment. Sort of like I said about Tibbs, he helped change the culture, but at some point he had to go, and you know, I think the players were running the asylum by the end. I think there's a
I think
reason. I think there's a reason he's never coached again. If you think about it,
um in my personal opinion, Mr. Frank, I think letting go of Thomas Jones really hurt the Jets as well. I think he was the heart and soul of the team. That's my personal opinion. And I bringing in my boy LaDainian Tomlinson, who is a legend. I don't think that was the answer. I think maybe bringing in another guy to help out Thomas Jones was the answer. But letting go of Thomas Jones and trying to place him with that other guy y'all had, that sealed Rex Ryan's fate because he was the heart and soul of the team, in my opinion.
yeah.
I could be wrong, of course, but
No,
that's
no,
my
no.
opinion.
It's again. There's always one player who you look at him statistically, he has no business being a starter or being in front of anything. But and even coaches, there's coaches sometimes you got no business being on the field being a coach. But when you got a team that lines up behind you and does everything in their power to make you look better, you got to keep those people whether you believe in them or not, because your team believes in them. You got to keep players like that. You got to keep coaches like that. You know, Rex had the team behind him, believing in him the first 2 years. Then after a while, it just got crazy. It was almost like watching a frat house party every time the Jets played them last couple of years. Except they weren't having fun; they kept getting blown out.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna sit here and lie. Like they just went backward, like a 7-9 or 6-10. I forgot what they finished after the butt fumble thing, but it was like, uh, but brother BT, what you got? How you feel about your Saints? What you think? How you feel about their moves in the draft? Because we about
All
to
right.
wrap up. After I do the Giants, we're gonna wrap up.
Well, first off, gentlemen, thank y'all so much for having me up here. I love
Yeah,
talking
you good,
football
brother.
with
You
y'all.
good.
So we're going to the Saints draft, right? So first off, let me just say this: our draft class was not ranked particularly high. Um, I'm pretty sure that a lot of media pundits, especially the pro Shador Sanders, pro Deion Sanders crowd, is pretty mad at us because we didn't draft Shador, even when we were perceived to be the favorites of getting him. I mean, even I at one point was thinking we were going to get draft Shador. I gave some pretty valid reasons why we could have used him, even though I wasn't particularly high on him as a prospect. I thought maybe looking back at it, hey, why not? Until I remembered I'm only a fan and I'm not an NFL scout and I don't get paid to scout football. I just watch it. So with that being said, uh, going from the top pick to our fifth pick, the first pick in the draft for us was the All-Star offensive line. Will Campbell, by all consensus, from a physical standpoint, was the highest graded offensive lineman in this entire draft. He had
Yes, he was.
he had the fastest 40 time. He had the best pedigree, so to speak. He was the consensus top lineman in the draft. However,
Right.
he was not the best lineman in college. Even though I'm an LSU fan, Will Campbell was not the best lineman in college. That went to the guy that we drafted. That is Mr. Calvin Banks Jr. of University of Texas at Austin. Calvin Banks and Will Campbell, from a projectable standpoint, are the same size. They're both 6'6", 330. However, Will Campbell's a better pass blocker. He played for LSU. LSU was the nation's top passing offense this year. Kelvin Banks was far and away the best run blocker in college football this year. Texas was a powerful running team this year, even with Quinn Edwards and Arch Manning. They were a big, physical, downhill offensive line. And Calvin Banks ended up winning the Lombardi Award, and
You right now?
uh he also won the Outland Award as the top lineman. Will Campbell and him both tied for first team All American. But long story short, this pick was to bolster a Saints offensive line that, in my opinion, is not a bad unit. They just can't run block. And I think it's going to move Fuegua, our left tackle from this year, to right tackle, where he's probably better naturally. And I think Calvin Banks, from a physical standpoint, he helps the Saints offensive line that has talent. I think our other three guys are very good. They just need a true bookend, like Mr. Frank said, a true bookend left tackle. Our second round pick.
That's. I ain't mad at y'all. I
Will
ain't mad at you at all.
Campbell,
But yeah, Will Campbell was he
yeah,
went what? He went
fourth.
top five, didn't he?
Went fourth overall to New England. God bless
Yeah.
Will. Great kid from Monroe, Louisiana. That's the country. It's like living in upstate New York. Extremely country, extremely secluded. A lot of good football up there. Our second round pick surprised a lot of people until I did my research. Um, with the 60th something pick of the NFL draft, the New Orleans Saints took not Shador Sanders, they took Tyler Shaw, the 7-year veteran quarterback from Louisville. Tyler Shaw is 25 years old. He is also a quarterback who played at Oregon. He played at Texas Tech, and he also finished his career at Louisville. Now, before I continue, I want if y'all want to, I want one of y'all to give me one opinion you have on Tyler Shaw, and I'll give you one fact on him.
See, I only
One
heard of
opinion, I'll give
him.
you a fact.
I think
See, I
he's
just heard of that.
I, I think he's NFL ready.
What was that you said?
The only thing, the best thing I can say is he's NFL ready.
So, what my fact on him is 68%. He completed 68% of his passes despite being injured for 7 years in a row. This is
Damn.
a 6'6", 230-pound, really, if you want to look at it, true pro style quarterback.
Yeah, he's
He's
he's the prototype.
the prototype.
He's the new Big Ben.
Yeah, I mean, and on top of that, what I
He's
did not know, he ran the fastest 40 time of any quarterback the fastest 40 time of any quarterback in the draft was Mr. from Alabama. That was Jalen Milroe. He ran a 4.39. He's the best overall athlete. But at the combine, the fastest 40 time, Tyler Shaw, 4.54. He was the fastest quarterback at the combine by a lot.
Mm.
So I'll end with this with him. Biggest arm in it, one of the biggest arms in the draft besides Cam Ward. Very low turnover rate, and most importantly, destroyed his interviews. Was a very smart kid. Scored high on his Wonderlic. Um,
I think he's got a better arm than Cam Ward.
Probably does. He's bigger,
I
much
I,
bigger.
I think he's more accurate on his home run throws than Cam Ward,
You
which
know,
would explain your 60% completion rate.
you know. And one thing you have to understand this too: the Saints have three quarterbacks in their. Our head coach, ex college football legend, Kellen Moore, the all time winningest college foot quarterback. uh, Doug Nussmeier, former Cowboys offensive coordinator and assistant head coach, as well as the father of future first round pick of LSU, Garrett Nussmeier, and former All American, Scott Tolzien. That's three very intelligent quarterbacks who assessed this draft and they said to themselves, hey, we might like Shador. The best guy for us, Tyler Shaw. So me and my fandom could sit my ass down. They took the guy they wanted.
No, but he's a finished product. If you really think about it, he is literally probably more so than Cam Ward. He's NFL ready. He's ready to learn the playbook and play.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't doubt that. At 25 years old, and having a fucked up history of injury. No, I'm not doubting that at all. I'm not at
Absolutely.
all.
And not to mention, I mean, the Saints needed. We haven't had a home run threat since Drew Brees himself.
Yeah,
Big arm, and like I said, we don't have a true prime. We don't have a Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's a big, strong, evil receiver, right? He's strong. He's gonna be bigger and stronger than the guy next to him. We
yeah,
might
yeah.
not have that, but we got speed, huh?
You still got Thomas?
No, Thomas will never play football ever again. That's his words, not
Michael
ours.
Thomas.
Yeah, that's his words, not ours. He will never play football in the NFL ever again. That is his words, not mine. I don't know what. Look, yeah. Hey, hey man. And our next pick, I'm not gonna go over all of them. I'm just gonna go over the main ones. And the last one I'm gonna go over because, like I said, the rest of them are kind of, whatever. The last pick that I think really benefits this team because we were the last ranked team in the NFL stopping the run. Another Texas guy because Texas was the best line of scrimmage team in college football on both sides of the field. First team All SEC Texas defensive tackle Vernon Broughton. As you gentlemen may or may not know, former LSU defensive tackle coach, defensive line coach, and one of the best D line coaches in all of football, Bo Davis, coached at Texas. He's the he was the legendary D line coach for Alabama when Saban was there. He is now the defensive line coach for the New Orleans Saints. Vernon, what's this guy's name? Vernon Broughton was a defensive lineman for Bo Davis when he coached at Texas 2 years ago. Broughton was ranked as ranked as the fourth highest defensive tackle in this draft. He's 6'6", 311 pounds. We sucked in the middle of our defense. We did. We need a guy like this because Brian Breesy is a talented guy. He's an end. He's not bulky enough. He's tall and athletic and strong. He's an end. He's going to be a bare side defensive end. This guy will be our starting nose guard. And with that being said, for this draft, it was graded a D. I give us a B plus.
I see that. So we'll definitely see by the start of the season. What does that do with Derek Carr?
I think Mr. Carr might have played his last game as an NFL starter. Between injuries and the fact that the city doesn't accept him, it's a similar case to Zach Wilson, man. Unfortunately, the city didn't accept him. He's not going to put asses in seats. I think the drafting of Tyler Shaw, as well as the uprising of current starter Spencer Rattler, it's a signal that the Saints are willing to eat his salary and just go all in with the quarterback, if that makes sense.
No, I do. It
But
is what it
shout out to
is. I
Derek
mean,
Carr.
the Carr brothers are tough, but I mean, they just didn't have the best of luck in the
No,
NFL.
and that's okay, man. They're millionaires, and Derek
Yeah,
Carr's a nice
you did
man.
good.
But imagine trying to live up to the legacy of Drew Brees, the NFL's all-time leading passer.
Yeah, it's like that's definitely difficult.
Uh,
But Frank, you did you speak on your rookies?
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna catch y'all
Yeah.
boys later. I gotta go tend to my niece real quick.
All right.
I'm gonna drop my Instagram in the chat if y'all want to follow me or whatever. I'll be posting sports stuff all the time.
All right.
Jack, I post sports stuff. Y'all be blessed. I go put my niece to sleep real quick. God bless y'all, and yeah, man. Good luck to y'all seasons, man. Stay safe out there.
All
Hold it
right.
down, brother. Appreciate you for coming through.
All right, man. All right. Shout out to Jim Jones.
Yo, but as far as the Giants go, I did like the pickup of Abdul Carter. That does help the defense some. Well, a great deal. Hopefully, he'll continue to be the animal that he is. What I really liked was the pickup of Scatterbo. I'm surprised he was still in the draft at the third round, but I'm glad we got Scatterbo. I do like Darius. I forgot his name. He's a lineman. He's about 6'7" and two and change, 280, 290. And I think he was born just to disrupt quarterbacks. So I kind of do like I like the Giants draft. I appreciate it. Jackson Dart, I don't know. They're still looking for the next Eli Manning, which they should be looking for the first somebody else. But I mean, Jackson Dart is cool. I mean, I probably would have wanted Shador Sanders because we have a quarterback coach/coach in Brian Dayball. So, it'd have been nice to see Shador, but we got Jackson Dart. I'm not mad at that. And we're going to see what the hell happens. But I definitely think the Giants defense it should be getting better. Definitely with the offseason pickups of the number one corner. We got better at defensively, period. We got better defensively, hopefully, on paper. So hopefully Jackson Dart, we'll see him next year or two. So hopefully we got Russell Wilson who's going to do his thing this year and pass the baton to Jackson Dart. But yeah, I see the Giants possibly 8-9 wins, like on the cusp. If we win 10-11, hey, that's great. But I want to thank Frank for coming out. We about to get up out of here. You got any last words?
No, that was pretty much it. Like I said, I'm looking for 10 wins here. I'm looking for the Knicks to get to game 7. I got a pretty interesting year going on here, so we good.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you as far as basketball. As far as all three of your teams go, yeah, there's a shot for everything to go in your favor. So I want to thank everybody who tuned in. I appreciate BT for coming out, Yellow Tape. Whoever sees this later on tomorrow, shout out to Harlem, my boys Ray, A, and E. You know, but we'll see you soon. Shout out to Yellow Tape. We up out of here.
Yeah, and I'm
What happened? What you had to say, bro? You had something to say?
no, I said I'm gonna tag you in that article with the stats and all that on Sanders.
I appreciate you, bro. You have a great night, brother.
You too, man.
And appreciate you for coming through again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Practice. I can show you practice. I can show you how to put a million in a mattress. I can show the difference between an icon and a classic. Baby in the major should be rolling in the basket. I'm advanced, and it's a lot of dance. From anywhere, my jewelry jump like Ja Morant. And Gift Tower shorts got me tanning with the babes. You would be a surfer if you ever had this wave. I just switch up my cabana, they throw shade. Matter top 5 and top wives, no I'm the fade. And throw them out the loop, I be mute, playing cute, nothing to say to you. Cause when I'm back home, I'm like Kyrie, I won't play with you. This is magic with the fur. Tim Duncan on the spur. Tanya Harton on the skate. This that Kobe number 8. This the kick over the head in the hand of Sue Bird. This boy's superb. All I got is 2 words.
T.O.N.Y Jack. Later.